Yeah. I'm 2 years off the 6, man.
I thought you brought like a Valium or something like that.
I got some extras if you want one.
What, nicotine?
Yeah, they're great.
No, I got some gum already. I got the fucking gum. I'm all psyched up.
I was 2 packs a day, you know?
Of what? Cigarettes?
Cigarettes, Jesus Christ.
You got to get off this fucking thing. Your liver's going to turn purple.
I don't give a fuck. They're delicious.
As long as you're not smoking.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as it's not lung cancer.
Please.
The Church of What's Happening Now is presented by On It. This show is brought to you by Lyft. Drive with Lyft. It's the ride-sharing app that lets you be your own boss, pick your own hours, and earn up to $1,500 a week by driving your own car. On top of all of that, our listeners have an extremely special offer. You get a $500 new driver bonus after you complete 100 rides in 30 days. Go to lyft.com/Joey today. Go to lyft.com/Joey today to qualify for your $500 driver bonus.
I took a Lyft here. They could meet me.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, have Tom Rhodes in the back, and you're making $500. What's
That's
better
right,
than that?
cocksuckers.
What's better than that?
You can't lose.
This show is also brought to you by Seeso. With Seeso, you get unlimited access to Seeso original series, next day late night, and in hilarious stand-up specials. Go to Seeso, that's SEESO.com right now, and sign up for 1 month free with promo code Joey at checkout. That's Seeso.com, promo code Joey at checkout to get 1 month for free.
Oh, shit. You wanted it, you got it. The Church of What's Happening Now. Monday, February 13th. Tremendous.
Song reminds me of getting drunk in high school.
This song reminds me of stabbing a motherfucker. This song always wants to make me stab a motherfucker right here. This is what you put on before you go to war as you're driving there with,
That's right.
with a grenade in your helmet. This is what you put on.
Make my final stand.
Church of What's Happening Now, motherfuckers. Lee Syatt, Tom Rhodes. Here you go. Kick it, Lee. Do your homework. One of the greatest bands fucking ever. All 4 or 5 albums, whatever they had. Bad Company, Shooting Star, fucking Desolation Angels, just tremendous music. That's why I'm turning you motherfuckers onto it.
Rebel souls, deserters we are called. Chose a girl.
What do you do after you eat? Just listen to the song. What are you gonna do? Roller skate? What are you
Go fight.
hang out with your friends? What are you gonna do? Drink coffee?
Yeah.
This song gets you fucking ready to go.
How old is this song?
It's from the 80s,
Since
the early
Jesus
80s.
left Chicago, 70s.
Is it?
Think about it.
Wow.
What's the song they put out before this? Cut it, Lee. What's the jam? Can't Get Enough of Your Love. That was their first real big commercial jam. I was a fucking kid. Put it in, Lee. Can't Get Enough of Your Love. You don't have to play the video, just Wikipedia and see what year it came out.
Okay.
That's when I heard of fucking these motherfuckers. I've been listening to these guys since I had knickers on.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were. I'm not going to tell
Still
you
a
I knew who
classic
they
rock
were.
staple.
Yeah, no. This came out around all the classic rock that you hear today comes from this era. That real, the 2 songs that stick out the most in my mind are this and BTO.
Taking care of business.
74.
Every day.
74. This
Wow.
is Can't Get Enough of Your Love is 74. That album's got to be 73. That Bad Co. The Sky is Burning Sky, whatever that one album is brilliant. Shooting Star is fucking brilliant.
Love
and
that
I think
song.
they got one other one in there. And then Desolation Angels. And in the 8th grade, me, Dominic Special, a bunch of us went to see Bad Company
Wow.
on the Desolation Angels tour at the Nassau Coliseum. And you remember one thing from every concert. What I remember was that the lights went pitch dark and he had glow-in-the-dark sticks. and he did a solo, and I thought my head was gonna blow up.
Wow.
You know, we have done some acid or something, so it was.
I saw Prince on the '84 Purple Rain tour, and Sheila E. opened.
And Nucleus.
And that was her big thing. On the last song, the lights would go out,
Right,
and she had these glow-in-the-dark drumsticks. And 1984 technology, that was like watching, fucking, lasers split the moon or
that
something.
was one of the weirdest nights of my life. I got to write that in the book. I was at my friend's. We started lifting, and on WPLJ, one of those stations, they said, listen, late breaking news, Prince, Sheila E., and Nucleus are doing like the Ritz, one of those clubs in Manhattan. I didn't even wash my pussy. I just put jeans on, we put grease on our hair, and we shot into the city, and we got in. $15. We were in line for like 10 minutes. Nobody had really heard it. I don't know what had happened.
Right.
It got packed later on as Prince got on, but right before, the movie had been out already.
How often will they do unannounced shows like that?
In New York, a lot. Everybody wanted to showcase in New York.
That
on
makes
those
sense,
days.
yeah.
So let's say Eric Clapton was in New York. Dave Gilmour would show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always had that type of shit.
Right.
In 78, I was a baby, but I heard that to warm up for the Miss You tour, the Stones were signing up like the Red Muskets. They would have a manager call the club and say, hey, you know who the Red Muskets are? No, we don't. Listen, book them $300. And it was the Rolling Stones. So, like in Nyack, New York, at the Cuckoo's Nest. I remember one time the Stones showed up at a bar up there somewhere. Don't quote me on Nyack, but they showed somewhere up there when I was a kid on like a Tuesday night. Can you imagine being at the bar watching a hockey game? And there's a band setting up at 10 and it's the Rolling Stones? Can you imagine that? And
Is there an electrical outlet anyway?
Yeah, that's it. That's what they did to warm up for the big arenas. That's a treat and a fucking half.
The first piece of music I ever bought, I bought the 45 for Miss You, the Stones, 78. I was fucking 12 years old. And the first concert I ever saw was the Rolling Stones, 1981. At the Tangerine Bowl in Orlando.
That was Tattoo You?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the tour was called something like, what was the tour called? I forget. But
I didn't see that.
But it was
tour.
that.
I saw the one before.
Yeah, it was great.
That's crazy that they're still around and you're talking these ages.
It's hot in Orlando.
Sure.
Mick Jagger took a hose and had one of those like guns at the end of it, like gardeners use.
And he sprayed
the audience. And it was just like, the Pope blessing people with holy water.
People would leave there. Fuck, Mick Jagger hit me with water. That's great. Go have another cocktail, fucko.
It says the Rolling Stones American Tour. Was it?
That was 81.
81.
Yeah. Tattoo You, you were right.
Tattoo You.
Yeah, Tattoo You.
50 million in ticket sales.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That was in 81, 50 million.
Roughly 3 million concert goers. Wow.
Imagine that. 50 million in 1981.
Wow.
Chop it up 5
You know how
ways.
much coke was in Florida in 1981? Yeah. Those guys had a good time.
No, they really did have it.
I remember they did 2 shows. I remember my Aunt Margie had flown down from D.C. My family's originally from D.C. And she was out late. I think she had maybe, I don't know what happened. They left their mark on the family.
Who else showed up one time? My first single was Hot Pants. By
James Brown. Wow.
Maybe 1968, 69 in New York City. Me and Jasper Williams.
Wow.
Told my mom we were going to the bar, and we walked from like 127th Street on Broadway. I'll never forget this, to like maybe the record store was on 138. And those were murky waters in those days. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a fucking... You were like the Warriors. Every block was a different gang chasing you who wanted to bum a nickel from you. It was fucking crazy, New York City was dirty. I remember walking home with that single, being so fucking excited, getting all the way home, and I forgot the thing in the middle.
Oh. So you had to play it, and it was wobbly?
Yeah, it was wobbly and shit. Then you got to walk back to the record store and get the clip or the circle and look like a silencer. Remember they had the thing that you put in, it looked like a silencer?
Yeah.
You could put a bunch of singles over it. It would just drop. So you would have like 10 45s, with the thing, and after the 45 would
Yeah, it
just
would drop.
You never listened to the B-side either in those days. Very rarely would you fucking flip it over.
I'm a huge James Brown freak. I don't know if I ever told you, I opened up for James Brown.
Where?
At the Canocti Harbor Resort. It's on Clear Lake. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of San Francisco. This is like 96. And I grew up in the South. I started on
After he threw the beating and the cops chased him.
Yeah, man. He was
after the
He was
time.
older. He's an older man. He was in his 60s. He was still mesmerized. He had like a lime green jumpsuit, one piece. But he was still doing, and he had a little kind of a pot
Did
belly.
you ever see his performance from Kinshasa, Africa?
Oh my God! Yeah, no, that's one of my
Tremendous.
favorite films is the When We Were Kings, that Muhammad Ali documentary.
Did they have that on there?
Yeah, he performs, and he's got the mustache.
The mustache,
Yeah.
the goatee. He's got the black suit on with the Godfather of Soul,
Yeah,
GSO, whatever, on his fucking shirt. But that was from one of them. We Were Kings. But they also have a documentary called Soul Power,
I haven't seen that.
and that's badass. That's on there. Them on there. James Brown, B.B. King singing
Yeah.
"Thrill Is Gone" in Africa.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Fucking the Fonny All-Stars in Spanish.
Yeah, they just showed
Celia
clips of that in When We Were Kings.
Celia Cruz. It's fucking tremendous.
So I started out on the southern circuits, and I remember I did a one-nighter in Augusta, Georgia, when James Brown was in prison. And after my gig, I drove my car to the edge of the prison, and I sat on the hood of my car smoking cigarettes, and I had James Brown's greatest hits on my cassette tape, and I remember just like brooding and smoking and looking at the prison like, how can they keep this genius locked up like an animal? I'm like, whatever, I'm fucking 18, 19. So years later, then I get to open up for him, and it was a phenomenal gig at this small place, the Canocti Harbor, maybe sat 800 people, I'm guessing. And after the show, they said I could meet him, and I declined because James Brown meant so much to me that I didn't want to destroy. Who knows what would happen if I went backstage and like he's an old man in his underwear, and then I accidentally see through his pee hole on his boxer shorts. And he's got some weird old guy shriveled up dick or something. And then, whenever I would hear his music, maybe he's got his wig on a hanger. Who knows what? Now that he's dead, it's one of my regrets in life that I didn't go back and meet him. But I opened for him,
I think you made the right choice. I don't know.
What do you think? I mean, the guy was and he still is. I still listen to James Brown all the time.
How disappointing is that when you're in love with somebody or you look up to somebody and you meet them and they're completely different?
Well, I mean, that's it. You got to protect like things that you hold sacred in life, Like I remember once in New York City, I was on an elevator with Lou Reed, and I love Lou Reed so much, I didn't say a fucking word to the guy. What am I going to say to Lou Reed?
I'm the same way. When I see people I admire, I don't say dick. I'm embarrassed. I can't ask them for a fucking picture.
Yeah, and I never ask for pictures and
I
stuff.
look at people and I wave and I say, how you doing? And that's the extent. Or sometimes I just don't say anything because if they don't answer me back, then I'll be disappointed. I know they're a dick. They can't even say hello.
Yeah. I met Tom Waits once, and I kind of embarrassed myself.
Were you drinking?
Well, it's I've told the story on stage, So I had met Lars Ulrich, the drummer from Metallica, a few years before, and ended up back at his place in Tiburon doing a bunch of cocaine, and he had a bar. He had a bar party room, and on top of his bar, most unbelievable view of San Francisco I've ever seen in my life, from Tiburon, his mansion. And on top of his bar, he had a mound of cocaine underneath a glass cake cover. And this was rock star cocaine. This was not the yellow shit that smells like gasoline that I've read about. So we're doing all this coke, and he's got a jukebox, and on the jukebox, he's got tons of Leonard Skinner on it. So Leonard Skinner's from Florida. I grew up in Florida. I'm like, dude, you like Skinner? I'm from Florida. I love Skinner. Dude gets all serious. Apparently, he's like the biggest Leonard Skinner fan in the world. Takes me into his movie theater room. and he had these bootleg VHS tapes of Lynyrd Skynyrd in 1973 in Birmingham, Alabama, just ripping ass. Fucking phenomenal. So here I am, coked out of my skull, 4 o'clock in the morning, watching Lynyrd Skynyrd videos with Lars Ulrich. So 2 years later, I'm headlining at the Punchline in San Francisco. I'm doing 9 o'clock shows, and then Dave Chappelle's doing midnight shows. Chappelle's an old friend of mine, asks me if I'll stay and open for his show. So I got like 10 minutes left on my show, and Tom Waits and Lars Ulrich walk in together, and they sit at the center back couch. And one of the greatest achievements of my career was seeing Tom Waits laugh at some of my shit, you know? So my show ends, audience leaves, Chappelle's audience comes in, and then it's just like a few minutes before the show's about to start, and I'm standing by the door. You've been in the Punchline. There's a small little
great.
One of my
we talked about it on the phone last week.
Yeah, so I'm standing by the door, waiting to be introduced. The show's about to start, and Lars Ulrich walks over to me and he goes, "Hey man, you came to my house a few years ago, and we watched Lynyrd Skynyrd videos all night." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's cool. You remember." He goes, "You gotta meet Tom." Holy fuck. Tom Waits? My all-time hero in life. It's 8 steps from the door where I'm standing to the table where he's sitting, and every step I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm about to meet Tom Waits. Oh my God, I'm about to meet Tom Waits. So we get to the table, and Lars Ulrich introduces me, and he goes, "This guy came to my house a few years ago, and we watched Lynyrd Skynyrd videos all night." And as I'm shaking Tom Waits' hand, I go, "I love Skynyrd." And the fucking lights went out, and the show started, and I never got to say another word to the guy. My one and only sentence to my all-time hero was, "I love Skynyrd."
I can't believe that the drummer from Metallica loves Lynyrd Skynyrd.
He loves Lynyrd Skynyrd.
But I see the lineage now. I see why they rock like they do Metallica.
Lars Ulrich is a phenomenal human being. I love that guy.
I've never met him. I think he's a phenomenal drummer. Dean Delray played some of his tracks last week, the new album. They're still rocking.
Yeah.
They still got hearts of fucking lions, you know. I get high sometimes. Like sometimes at night I can't sleep, and it's free time. It's my free time. I go on the computer and I put a notebook out, but I really don't write. And I'll go through 10 Lynyrd Skynyrd videos and just cry. I'll just cry.
Why? Thinking about what happened to them?
No. I think there's one video that in the middle of it, I always cry. Because I think that style and that something will never happen again in music. Like one of my favorite videos on YouTube that I watch 3 or 4 times a week is the Allman Brothers live from the Beacon 73 Whipping Post.
Jesus.
It is one of the most brilliant pieces of music that I've ever seen in my life. You know, and they're white trash. Let's get to it. These guys are white trash.
And that's why I love them.
And that's why I love them. It was, you know, they talk about, in my world, they talk about all these great accomplishments that people do. I null and void them. I compare it to the Allman Brothers at the beach. Yeah. I really do.
What's your favorite Allman Brothers song?
That one. I mean,
it's hard
I
not
love
to get
Sweet
pumped.
Melissa. I love a
I like Dreams.
I like Dreams, but
Pulled myself out of bed.
just something about that style of music makes my fucking heart pump and want to slice somebody's throat and shit.
Yeah.
Then you put Lynyrd Skynyrd in. You know, who? I mean, you're an intelligent guy, Lynyrd Skynyrd, whatever your fucking name is, Tom Rhodes. You're an intelligent guy. Whiskey bottles, brand new car, oak tree
In my
way. Let's just break that down. So I'm sitting there one morning doing a line of coke. You know, he wrote that about his brother. He wrote that about one of the band members, you know, that the guy was out of control. Whiskey bottles, brand new car, oak tree in my way. That's what addicts say. What happened last night? Oak tree got in my way.
And jumped into the road.
Yeah, he jumped into the road. Jesus Christ, you told out another car? Like, I guess that he wrote that because the guy had just kept tolling cars. Like, you know, one of it, either his brother or one of the guys. But think of that lyric alone.
I think it's interesting. The Lynyrd Skynyrd had 3 steps. Give me 3 steps.
Oh my God!
And then the Allman Brothers had I forget the song, but I think it's interesting that both of those Southern bands had a song about getting caught with another man's lady.
Oh, I love that.
What's the Allman Brothers song where he goes,
Might be your man.
I don't know.
There's a live version of it that the beginning of it just drives you crazy. Like, they're so good. And I sit there and I make believe it's 1973. That I don't have a cell phone. I don't have nothing I'm worried about. It was when America was America.
Right.
When you went out and really enjoyed yourself for what it was. You weren't on the phone. You didn't take pictures of the band. To sit there and you know why? Because you got mesmerized. Even me, and as an adult at 54, I watched that Allman Brothers thing, and I'm still mesmerized, even though I've seen it 80,000 times.
Yeah.
And the weird thing, I think that's a really cool point you just brought up, because it's not like you didn't take pictures. You couldn't, like, unless you brought like a film camera. There wasn't even the option. It wasn't like
The camera would have been too big. You'd have to hold it on your shoulder.
right. And it's not like you feel like you're missing out.
Well, in those days, there was one person, there was one perpetrator that me and Tom Rhodes supported, because that's the way life was. And it was the bootlegger. Every city in America had an album store. And in the back of the album store, they had nothing but bootlegs. And every time you spent money on them, it was a 50-50 shot. There was a money-back guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
It was a guy with a long jacket and a tape recorder
Okay.
that went into a concert and taped it.
Yeah, there's always, they'd say, like if it was like trying to make the bootleg sound like it was good quality, it was taped off the boards.
Yeah. Like, dog, this was taped off the boards. My man knew a guy at the Garden. You're absolutely right. I forgot about that shit. I still remember buying Bonzo's birthday party. Like,
What is Bonzo's birthday party?
was Bonham's birthday party in New York one year. God awful. It was god awful. It was unlistenable. It cost me a $5 lesson.
Wow.
Now, when somebody had a bootleg that was good, I'd ask them to put it on cassette for me, and I'd give them $3 or $4. Why fuck around? I never took that chance again. That was the only thing that people did. And at the end, even the concerts in the early 80s, people weren't putting up lighters. That shit happened later.
Not even lighters? I thought lighters was always going to be a thing.
No, it was like somebody made fun of it, and then it became a thing.
Then it became a thing, and then now they put their cell phones up like fucking half a fags. So,
Oh, Jesus Christ. I saw, my favorite place in Amsterdam is the Paradiso. It's like a 14th century church that's now a concert venue. Everybody's played there. The Stones, anybody you could think of. So when I was living there, Jane's Addiction played, and I love Jane's Addiction, and so I got there early, and I remember I didn't eat anything, I didn't drink anything, I sat through some poser punk rock band from New York who opened up for them. Like, I was like, right, my chest is like, I'm like against the stage and everything, and I didn't eat and I didn't drink anything because I wanted to stay there in the front for the whole show. And some guy who's in the front, he's taken 1,000 photos of Perry Farrell. I'm right underneath the mic stand, and it's like the guy had taken so many photos on his cell phone. I finally turned to him. I go, dude, I think you got it. He's taking he's just he just couldn't believe he was so close to him, and he just keeps taking pictures. And Perry Farrell was so whacked out of his skull on drugs that night. He could only hum. Or you go like either hum or go la 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 la. He just didn't. He had no idea what song he was doing. You could have stuck your tongue out and caught a drop of his sweat and been high for days.
Till this day, I was a fucking addict and a half. I think a year into comedy, not even. It was St. Patty's Day, and to be a cool MC, I bought a gram of blow to turn the headliner on in the feature, to be a cool MC. And I did 2 bumps before I went up. And I learned the hardest lesson in this life, that you cannot do powder and go on stage.
That's the worst thing in the world. Your mouth gets all dry and your nose is twitching.
My God. So I learned a valuable lesson that night. And then it was to the point where I knew that if I got high the night before, I wouldn't have a good set. Like if I got high 2 nights in a row, the weekend was done.
Yeah.
It was just going to be material with no heart to it. It was just a tape recorder.
I remember Mitch Hedberg and I had co-headlined in Houston at the Laugh Stop a few times. And that's where I met you, was at the Laugh Stop. And you remember, I think we talked about this on your show.
Yeah.
Houston, Texas has some of the purest cocaine available in America.
Jesus Christ.
And I just remember just days hitting it hard with Hedberg. And that's where I learned, because we would sleep all day and then, do the show at night. And I remember that's where I learned that it's Texas state law that after 3 days of having the do not disturb sign on your door, they have to come check on you to make sure you're not dead.
Unless you go, what about if you go to the front desk and go, I'm not dead.
Well, then maybe you got to
I don't like nobody in my room. I don't want nobody in my room, right? You get knocked for fucking 10 years. If I know it's you, because I never, I play a hotel safe. If you call the hotel room, you're not going to get, I don't answer hotel phones.
Yeah, I don't anymore either.
And I don't open up the door either. There's a disturb sign. I don't open the door. I don't answer the phone.
Do you do like I do? You put the do not disturb the moment you get there and never take it off?
Fucking minute, the minute. If it's got the button you press, I hit the light. I don't even ask for towels. I'm like a cheap hotel guy, because on Saturday I still got 2 towels left. Use the towels, Joey. What the fuck? Then I use the towels, like on Friday, but I hoard the towels, and then I use the same washcloth. You're in a fucking hotel. They put you in a nice hotel. Take the amenities. But I'm such an old school fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Did you guys ever stay, I'm sure you did, but like in like a drug hotel where like every room is doing, like, what is that like? Where you can just hear it and like...
Where you can hear the crack pipes chirping like crickets.
Can you really? I've never...
I remember I stayed in some shady Motel 6s along the highway and stuff.
What was the shadiest hotel you stayed at that you didn't fear for your life, but you feared for your life? You know those hotels where you don't fear for your life, but you fear for your life, especially if you do a couple bumps and sit in your room and you hear like somebody yelling and shit, and you're like,
yeah,
what did I get myself into? I'm going to finish this package before the cops get here.
I remember, it wasn't shady, but I just remember I was in Reno a couple years ago, and I could hear this, Reno's a rough city, man. You got, people, homemade knuckle tattoos and a big crystal meth town. And some guy's arguing with his girlfriend or whatever, wife or whoever in the next room, And I remember thinking to myself, if that guy, and it sounded like it was, it was on the verge of, some very serious shit happening in the next room. And I remember thinking to myself, if that guy gets that chainsaw started, I'm going to have to call the desk.
Jeez.
The worst hotel ever for me where there were drugs. And listen, I used it to my advantage. I'm not going to lie to nobody. It was 2 particular hotels where I feared for my life, but I also enjoyed it at the same time. We used to do this gig, Rudy Moreno used to book, from 97 to about 99. Paid $150. You took off from either LAX or Burbank. You didn't care. And they flew you into Tucson. They picked you up Wednesday afternoon. No radio, no nothing. The name of the club was Bugsies. All right, and to get in, if you brought a bug, they let you in on fucking Wednesday.
What?
Night.
Seriously?
This was
a live bug,
a large bug. Now it was owned by a woman, but her 3 gorilla Magilla Mexican fucking mobsters controlled that bar. So 3 comics, he would fly down 3 comics. Everybody did 30 minutes, and everybody got $150. The hotel was a fucking nightmare. All right, yells, screams, cops, crack hoes, people knocking on your door asking you got a lighter, and rolling papers, checking out your room to see if the VCR.
Do not disturbs?
Oh no, it was a fucking nightmare. One night a girl knocked on my door like, hi, I'm looking to see if you had any beers, and the whole time I'm looking at her eyes, and she's trying to look around me to see if the TV was locked in still. And all those hotels, the TVs were bolted on, fucking welded on. Listen, the Titanic's welder couldn't get the TV off. You wouldn't believe it, Lee. They had a bulletproof shell on the TV.
I was going to say, did they have a bulletproof thing at the check-in?
No, yes. This was, and the doors didn't lock. The showers, they only gave you little white towels. It was like a Hindu hotel, but it was owned by Mexico. It was fucking crazy, but enjoyable. Because there was a few nights when all I had to do was walk to the thing and make believe I was looking for candy and a soda. And somebody'd be creeping around. Psst. You want to buy Coke? I don't think so, but hold on. What do you got? Every time I went there, creepy hotel number 2, Schrader, between Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard, before it became the hostel, was just a hotel. For weeks, I didn't have an apartment in Hollywood, so I would book the road, and in between the road, I would stay there. Tremendous. People knocking on your door all night, drugs, booze. Hotel number 3, Houston, Texas, came in there. Another place,
Allen Park Inn.
other place where you walked out at 3 a.m. just to see who you could bump into, and there'd always be like a girl crying by the fountain.
Was that the Allen Park Inn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was with Hedberg.
Oh my God! Every
Remember they
time-
had that 24-hour restaurant?
Yes, they had
And
a
you
little
go in
restaurant.
there and be like,
Pictures.
transvestites on speed and stuff. Like
was creepy.
older, creepy transvestites. Like sitting in shadows and
doors
stuff.
didn't really lock on all of them.
Yeah.
I had some crazy times at the Allen Park Hotel. And if you walked up the corner in the old days, there was a pierogi place. So you'd wake up like at 8:30 with cotton fucking mouth with a headache. And you'd walk 60 yards, Lee, and right there at 8 a.m, they had freshly squeezed orange juice to replenish that vitamin C that the cocaine ate out the night before.
How come you're allowed to get pierogies in Houston?
Not pierogies, the fucking thing with the sausage in the middle. What
The donut things.
the things that they sell at the donut shops in Houston, those sausages,
Yeah, sausage roll.
Kolaches.
kolaches.
Okay, I was gonna say, why can't you eat pierogies?
I mean,
I had Hedberg and I. We did that. So that massive. The Allen Park Inn was massive, and no one stayed in that back wing. So we would always stay in the back wing, and we could play boom boxes as loud as we want and party our brains out, and leave the doors open in the middle of the night and stuff. And we had all these local Houston comics were over, and we had done. And the pool was on the backside too, with this big green lawn area, if you remember. So we had done mushrooms one night, Hedberg and I, and then the sprinklers were on, and it's middle of summer, it's really hot. So we took off our clothes and we're running naked through the sprinklers, riding high on mushrooms, and then we dive into the pool and get out of the pool. And all these local Houston comedians are all like, none of them, joined in, and they're all like watching us, and we were like, we're the headliners, and we're just having the time of our life and running naked. And last July I was in Montreal doing the Just for Laughs festival, and Ralphie May was there, and I was telling this story, and Ralphie goes, I was there I ran naked with you guys. And I would have remembered a naked Ralphie May no matter how fucked up I was.
yeah, you remember a naked Ralphie May.
That's not something I'm gonna
I
forget.
got to tell you
It was just
something
me
right
and
now.
Hedberg running naked.
In 1998, comedy wasn't taking a nosedive, but comedy was slowing down a little bit. It had to be like 98 or 99.
Right.
And thinking about it now that you mentioned it, I got to tell you something. You know what started the cool in comedy? When you guys co-headlined together that first time in Houston. That was it. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had booked that lineup.
Right.
You know,
Well,
everybody
me and
was
Hedberg actually, I had never played there before.
Right,
And
he
Hedberg
brought you in.
thought that was like his favorite
His
club.
favorite club in the
And
world.
he was really great friends with Mark Babbitt. So he got me to come in, and Hedberg and I actually took less money so we could work together. Because we were like, we were partying together all the time in New York City at that time. He was living at the Chelsea Hotel. I was living in Wall Street. Man, we'd like party at his place
So you
all night. And I'd be like, I got to get back to my place in Wall Street. I lived at 71 Broadway. So it's like 6:30 in the morning. And there's all these dudes in suits hustling around Wall Street and I'm like blasted out of my skull trying to get in before the sun came up.
What if I told you I was one of those dudes in a suit, walking just as blasted as you were?
Well, I remember nobody lived downtown in that Wall Street area back then, but there was a homeless guy that would be down there, and he was always on the sidewalk. And I remember this guy was like so fucked up, and he'd ask for money, in the day when people are around and stuff, but like at night he would be the only guy, and he'd be like so fucked up. He's like holding on to the sidewalk, so he wouldn't like spin off the earth and go float into the universe and stuff. And I remember he was like my New York fucked up-o meter. I remember walking home, thinking, as long as I'm not as fucked up as that guy, everything is okay.
I lived in New York in '93. I gotta tell you something, boy, was I fucked up.
That's a rough town, especially I lived there broke, and then I lived there with money, and that's a rough town if you got money.
I was making money, believe it or not, working like 3 different part-time jobs. I was bringing coke back and forth for people from New York City because the coke was 35 uncut, 25 if it was cut. I could tell you, they would call me. You in the city? Yeah, pick up 2 grams. What's it go for? 50. 50 a gram. Even though I knew it was 25, I get them the $25 shit. And I make double the fucking money. And then I'd add $10, and for $10, I get a fucking gram of tuturuts.
Well,
and I'd do a bump out of his package. You know what I'm saying? The first bump came out of his package out of respect.
Tom, Joey grew up in New York and around New York. What were you thinking, like a boy from Florida, a kid from Florida, the first time you saw New York?
Well, I don't know if I've ever talked to you guys about this on here before, but I moved to New York City when I was 20 years old, and I wasn't ready yet as a comedian, and I lived in Washington Heights. This is 86, 87.
Heavy duty.
I lived in Washington Heights.
Where's that? Is that like
it's
Harlem?
North,
Right by
Port
Port Authority. Right by Port Authority.
Okay.
On 178th Street. No.
Yeah.
On 178th Street.
Yeah, that was my subway stop.
was the subway
178.
stop. Sure.
I lived at 181 Cabrini Avenue up there. So it's all I could afford.
Different world, dog.
And this was as crack was coming to the neighborhood. So there'd be gunshots at night. Cabrini Avenue in the morning, there'd be burned out, smoldering cars. People would steal cars in Manhattan, drive them up there, and just like set them on fire or whatever. So it was like probably the roughest, shittiest year of my life. So I always swore if I ever had any money, I'd live in New York City with style. So 96 to 97, I had that sitcom on NBC. And when that didn't work out, I moved back to New York City, and I got a Rockstar apartment in the Wall Street area. And, I had broken up with some girl. The sitcom didn't work out, and I was hell-bent. I was partying. I thought I was one of the Rolling Stones.
Nothing wrong with that. We all get confused.
But I also looked at that money as my NBC artist grant, and then that's when I started taking trips to London. And once I got in with London, that led to the gigs around Europe and the rest of the world. So, I mean, I was partying, but I did make some strategical, smart moves.
I think we've spoken about it before, not with you, but just to let the audience know, whether you have a show for 4 episodes or 80 episodes, you had a show. And for anybody who's in the business, I always admire people who had a show, whether it failed or it didn't, because the public has to understand how hard it is for a show to come together, especially now with diversity and shit like that. And they're trying to rewrite everything. Today, I was watching the news this morning, minding my own business. The weather was about to come on, and the guy had Alyssa Milano on there. Do you know they're going to reboot Charmed? Like, they're going to redo Charmed. Like, she's like, all right, CBS put it off till 2018, but they want to fucking reboot it. And the guy goes, are you happy about it? He goes, how would you feel? How would you feel if somebody told you we could do your work better than you? But it's like they have no fucking original ideas.
Right.
It's a real hard time to put a show together. But my point was, it's really hard to get a show, Tom Rhodes. You did it. And on NBC, that was like kind of a weird.
Yeah, that was
different.
They were the New
about
York
that.
Yankees back then. That was the must-see TV period. Friends and Seinfeld and everything.
Jesus Christ, Friends was huge. This country sucked that in. They started drinking coffee and hanging out at fucking coffee shops.
Yeah.
And nobody was fucking nobody. All of a sudden, nobody wanted to fuck nobody. I hang out with you 5 nights a week, but you're not going to suck my dick. What are you, crazy? I got to hang out with you and your creepy girlfriends, and nobody's sucking my dick. Nobody's doing nothing. I got to pay. I got to act like I give a fuck about you. What the fuck?
Why is she here?
Why is she here? You know what I'm saying? Why is she here? She ain't going to cook. No, we were talking about his mother-in-law the other day. And if she moves in, she don't want to cook. She's cooking now, but once he marries her, they don't want to cook no more. That's how they lure you. You know what I'm saying?
That's how oh my God.
Why is she here? She's not going to cook. I can't have her.
So she's gonna move in? The mother-in-law?
No.
No, we're just goofing on her.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a disaster.
No, yeah, that would never happen.
But when you marry somebody ethnic, you gotta expect it.
I like it, man. My wife is ethnic, and my wife is from Holland, but she's originally from Suriname, which was a Dutch colony. It's actually the Dutch 300 years ago traded what is now Manhattan for Suriname. So there's a lot of Indian people there.
I thought she was Indian.
She's Indian. Why
are you confused about it? You just can't
her
say she's
ethnicity. Yeah, it's a very complicated
Jesus
story.
Christ, Rhodes. I thought she was Indian. I'm sitting here going, I feel fucking guilty. I thought she was fucking. She's beautiful. I thought she was Indian.
Yeah, she's Indian, but she's from Holland, so she grew up in Holland.
Jesus Christ!
So her family.
Gentiles want to throw me off.
So her family, their food is Indian food with also like Caribbean food. So it's really magnificent stuff. So I always say, have you ever lived in an apartment building and you're walking down the hall and like some ethnic people live in one apartment because you walk by there and you can smell the dinner and you're thinking to yourself, man, that's something really exotic is being cooked in there. That's my apartment. That's where I live now. It's great. I love it. There's just constant exotic odors coming out of the kitchen.
It's tremendous when you're growing up and you get used to your mom's smell of cookies or meatloaf. And as you're walking up the stairs, you could smell it.
It's pleasing. There's just food coming out of the kitchen.
I love when I pull up now, my wife's making something with garlic. As I'm turning the key, I could smell it in the air. And I'm like, yeah, because my wife was like, she's from Tennessee. She didn't want to use garlic. Then I would say, put garlic in it. It was like garlic had HIV. No, put garlic in that motherfucker. Worst case scenario, it takes care of an infection. I put garlic, extra garlic and everything. If I'm cooking, blast that motherfucker with garlic. The only thing you can do is taste better.
My favorite is the Thai dish that's garlic, chili, and basil leaves. That you could put that on a dog turd and I would eat it. Garlic, chili, and basil leaf is the perfect spice.
Tremendous. Just don't bring it around me. You know what I'm saying? I can't deal with curry. I can't deal with curry, no.
No, it's not the curry. That's Indian. Like that kind of red hot Thai pepper.
No, I still can't sit there and eat it because somebody will be eating curry and I'll be losing my mind. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't take curry.
You don't like it at all?
The smell.
Really?
Just makes me gag. We've been talking about this for a few weeks since I had an incident where a friend had food in the car. And I almost got sick. I had to tell him, "Dog, you got to put it in the trunk." Because I'm puking the fucking car. It was horrible, Tom Rhodes. It's like when somebody brings McDonald's on a plane.
Yeah.
Different fucking odor.
Yeah.
So that Big Mac stinks like a fucking...
Yeah. You get somebody's car. I remember when I was young and I'd be on the road, I'd throw like fast food bags in the back, the trash, and I wouldn't clean it out for a long time. I was young and stupid. Now you get in somebody's car and they got like old fast food bags. It's like a real greasy, nasty smell. What's the weirdest thing that your girl has made, Lee?
Her mom. It's not even that weird. Ceviche is just a little bit. I'm not used to it. I'm liking it more and more. I also when she makes pozole or any chicken soup, there's no taking bones out and they just put the whole piece of chicken in. So that took some getting used to. But her mom's food is amazing. It's that's not the issue. It's just I don't really. If the real issue is if I moved in, my mom would get jealous, and then that would be the huge issue. So no mom's moving in at all. But as a kid, I had a thing where, like every other kid's house stunk like ass to me. Like I don't know if it was the mom's cooking or what it was, but I was used to my house. But I would get into other kids' cars or the kids' houses, and it just smelled like BO. I don't even know what it smelled. It just smelled terrible.
My car. It smells like 10 dead assholes in there. It really does. I don't know if I farted in there and I left it.
What do you mean you don't know if you farted? You always farted.
I'll tell you one of the weirdest things I ever ate. My wife, her grandmother, when I first met her, we'd been together like 9 years in April. So this is like 5 years ago. Or no, it had to be longer because it was the very first time I met her grandmother. So I go over to her house, and she's cooking dinner, and I'm in love with this woman. Of course I want the family to like me. So I had made the mental decision I'm gonna eat whatever the grandmother puts in front of me, and I'm gonna love it. So she puts this. She brings out the food, and I'm digging in, and I'm throwing it in my mouth and chewing, and it actually was delicious. And I'm like, "Oh my God, Grandma, this is so good. What is this?" And it was chicken hearts.
I've had one chicken heart in my life in Israel.
It was actually like whatever spice she had used. Like once I knew what it was, then I got like, oh my god, I can't believe I was eating chicken hearts.
If you ever make something exotic,
but here's the thing. Here's the problem. So grandmother acted like. Because I acted like I loved the chicken hearts, every time I went over to her house, she'd make it for me because she thought I loved it so much. So if you're dating someone ethnic and you go to their family, be careful before you act like you love what's in front of you. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Joey?
I have no fucking idea.
When you make something exotic.
When you make something exotic, I forgot what the fuck my point was. No. If you make something exotic and you offer it to me and I eat it, and then an hour later you tell me what it is, I'm gonna puke on you. Like I'm one of those people. Like serious. Like if you trick me and go, it's a cheeseburger, and an hour later you go, no, we lied to you. It's like fucking bull's balls, deep fried with teriyaki on it. I'll fucking die.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those guys. Like I love veal scallopini. There was a friend of mine that made veal scallopini. Your asshole, smoke would come out of it. I mean, you would just break down. Razor thin, Tom Rhodes. Razor fucking thin. It was brilliant. I couldn't eat it.
Why?
Knowing that it was just some little lamb. I couldn't eat it. I can't eat lamb. I can't eat Cubans in Santeria. When you go to those Santeria parties, the animals they sacrifice are what they cook. They're fresh animals. I could never eat none of that shit growing up. I wouldn't touch one of those fucking chickens. You understand me?
Yeah. My mother's from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I've been down there 4 times. I got all these cousins that live down there, and I have a cousin that has a restaurant in Patagonia, in El Boson, and I went to visit him, and he slipped some like goat liver or goat kidney, something like that on me, and like his, their English wasn't very good. I don't speak very much Spanish. It was like they were all laughing.
You still like them?
I thought that was kind of
douchey. Yeah, me too. I think it's douchey.
I don't want to be slipped anything weird.
No, that's why I tell people my boundaries, and I appreciate the respect.
I can eat anything. I like exotic food. I like spicy. I love curry. I like everything but oysters. I don't like oysters.
Me neither, yeah.
But I love seafood. I love almost everything out of the sea.
But you like clams, Joey, don't you?
I love clams.
Yeah, I can't.
Clams are different, though. It's a different texture.
Those things you get in Boston, those steamers, they're delicious.
I can't do any of
all that stuff. I like clams on a half shell with a couple beers. I like, I like seafood. There's not much I don't like. I can't wait till my wife, the baby, gets over being car sick. There's a spot in Santa Barbara that has the spaghetti with the squid ink in it.
I've had that before.
Delicious.
And your teeth get all black.
Yeah, your teeth get all black. But the Cubans used to make that, my stepdad used to make that squid with rice. Oh my God, Tom Rhodes, with chorizo and shit and onions. See, that's the shit I craved after my family broke up. I missed my mother's cooking. But I was so old-fashioned that I never ate Cuban food for 5 years, maybe, after my mother died. Like, I didn't start eating Cuban food till 84. My mother died in 79. I never touched
emotional?
Cuban. I knew
Hell yeah,
that
it has to be.
part of it was that, and I knew that half the food I was going to eat wasn't as good as my mother's food.
Right.
So I started out with Cuban sandwiches. Then I went to Miami and I got boliche. That's my favorite. I like black beans and rice, but I don't like black beans and rice. I like black beans and rice when it's by themselves. If you want to give me a dish of black beans and rice, but when I'm eating something else, I don't know what it is. I love the fucking black and white rice mixed already. Congri, that shit's on the money.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, next time you go to Versailles, get a side of congri.
I mixed it together already anyways.
But
no, I'm going to try it. I'm gonna
just try it. What was it? $2.
Yeah.
What do you give a fuck?
Do you have a rule, Tom? Because you've traveled all over the world.
About what?
About just because the thing that struck me when I went to Israel was how many McDonald's and KFCs and all that stuff there were. Do you try to avoid those kind of places when you're in China and Thailand?
Yeah, well, every once in a while you'll be in a pinch. I'll tell you, like in Jakarta, Indonesia, was probably the greatest Kentucky Fried Chicken I've ever had in my life. There was a 24-hour place next to the hotel. I was doing this comedy festival there 5-6 years ago. I was still drinking heavily then. I'm all clean now. And I'm plastered. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a big 2-story, 24-hour Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they actually served it on real plates. And it wasn't like that small, genetically made, Kentucky Fried Chicken, we have in the States. It was like, these were like big, massive pieces. It was great. But normally I do avoid the I like food. I like, that's a big part of the traveling for me is eating weird, wonderful stuff.
I'm not really that weird. I don't really get that weird. I tend to stick to basic things.
Like things you like. I mean, I don't avoid the culinary experience.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. I'm not looking out for blowfish or anything.
Right. I don't want to do that. I think it'd be really fun to just have like sushi in Japan.
Yeah.
It did like pasta in Italy. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Korea's got great food. Jesus Christ, the Korean barbecue.
It's good over there.
Oh my God, it's so good. And then the shabu shabu, which originally comes from Japan, but the Koreans are all over it. And it's a big boiler soup, and you just keep throwing shit in it, vegetables and thinly sliced beef.
And it cooks the beef for you.
Yeah.
And you take it out.
And you take it out and you like eat it like out of a bowl. It's freaking delicious. There's a few shabu shabu places in LA I've tried that weren't even close to it.
That's what I heard. No, that's why I didn't know even.
But in Koreatown, there are some Korean barbecue places that are phenomenal. You just get loaded up.
Now, we were talking earlier. I was telling you that this Sunday is going to be my 20th year anniversary at the store, and I couldn't believe it the last couple of days. Just because I was such a loser, I never stuck with nothing in my life. Like I knew when I tried comedy, and I said to myself, "Wait a second. I'm about to quit my job. I'm about to go nomad. I'm about to go off the spectrum.
Let your hand off the edge of the pool."
Oh, I owed in credit card debt. I mean, there was nothing left when I got into comedy. There was no more checks from Discover. You know those checks they send you when you get the Discover card? There was no more of those left. It was over. Evicted. My car got fucking repoed. I mean, it was over. I was living off a fucking stipend from the sports betting service. They would send me like $800 a month to pay rent and utilities and get groceries. And I was delivering Chinese food, making money, but snorting coke with two hands. I was always chasing it. Child support was $365. The attorneys, $500 a week. The VIG with the fucking attorneys every week. It was deep. And one day I called the attorneys like a man. I said, "Listen, I got an opportunity to become a comedian. I'm leaving tomorrow. You could send my thing to collection. If you send it to collection, you could write it off. But as a man, I tell you what I will do. I will call you when I get to Seattle. I will call you when I get a job, and I will figure out a payment plan with you. Give me 90 days to send you a payment plan." To do all three of them were like, okay. And you know what? I paid them. Took me a long fucking time, but I paid these guys, even though two of them weren't worth their weight in gold. If something would have ever gone down, I would have machine gunned them both on the way to fucking New York to become a drug dealer. That's how much they took me for everything, those guys, dog. Every credit card. After a while, they were taking credit card payments. You can't go nowhere to file a motion. I was always filing a motion with my ex-wife. But the moral of the story is I couldn't believe I stuck with something for 20 years, especially the comedy store. Dog, I got 86 from every place I hung out at. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, I got 86 from every place I hung out at.
Why?
Because I always did something. The comedy store, I walked on a crooked line for a long time, but Mitzi sure had my back. So whenever they complained to her, she'd just say, "Leave fat baby alone," and that was it. I never spit in her face. I never did nothing. Every once in a while, I found something on the floor and put it in my pocket. Like something, you know what I'm saying? Or
like
somebody else will.
Like what?
Maybe $100 bill here or there. Maybe, from time to time you find stuff up there.
But you never really had a falling out. You didn't go there for 7 years, but...
But that was not a personal decision. They didn't ask me to leave. They didn't ask me to come back. I just thought that, listen, man, I watch. If Tom Rhodes walked into Side Splitters in 1982, when did you start comedy?
84.
84. You walked into Side Splitters in 84. What's the guy that owns Side Splitters?
Bobby Jewell, but I didn't. I could go. Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Tom Rhodes comes in. He's a 17-year-old comic. He has fucking promise. For 3 years, I am seeing him, I pay him a little money. I take care of him the last 2 years because he's fucking up the feature acts. Then he becomes my feature act. Okay? You know what? He's pretty fucking good. But I'm in Orlando, Florida, or whatever the fuck, Tampa, Florida. You know, MTV don't come down here. You know, NBC, A&E in those days. Nobody went to Tampa, Florida. If you were a comic, they didn't even know there was a scene in Tampa. I'm just making an example here.
Right.
But all of a sudden, this guy liked you. And all of a sudden, he would come to you and go, "Psst, come here for a second. This guy's manager keeps calling me. He wants me to give him a raise. Go up there and blow him off the stage. I'll give you an extra 100. You know how long that would last? Now you have that for like 2 years, and then he starts headlining you on the holidays, right? He headlines you the 4th of July weekend. He headlines you Valentine's Day, gives you a new year with a star. You have nowhere to go. By that time, you've been doing comedy 7 years. You're pretty damn fucking good. It's time for you to move on. I have a 7-year limit with a club. You know, because I treat it like if I was doing comedy in Michigan or I started in Denver. How long would you stay at the Comedy Works before you went and pursued your dreams? When you were blowing off all the headliners off the stage. When the headliners were saying, "Wendy, you can't put Tom Rhodes in front of me, dog. I can't take that. That motherfucker's killing it." You know, when they start saying that, you got to go to L.A. So how long does it take for them to start saying that? 7 years. I was at the store for 7 years by that point when I bowed out. I was doing spots 5 to 6 times a week and hosting on Sundays. You know, I was drinking for free. You know the fucking deal up there. I was fucking having a great time up there, you know, getting my dick sucked in the bathroom. And
Creating memories.
Absolutely right. So, but I never really robbed in it. There was one discrepancy. I was the driver. And I went to the bank one day and I went to put a deposit in and it was off like a yardstick. And I gave the banker all the fucking money, even though I would have taken that $100 in any other situation. And the banker added it on, but somebody at the Comedy Store said there wasn't an extra 100 in there. But then it went away. Then there was another dude that didn't like me, and he said I stole 2 cartons of cigarettes. So they confronted me one night, and it was tremendous. That's the first time. That's the second time Mitzi Shore saw me tell a motherfucker to suck my dick. Like right to his face. I didn't steal him. Suck my dick. You have a problem? Fuck her. He liked my girlfriend at the time, the stripper. Every time I'd be on stage, he'd bring me cocktails and shit. So he made up this thing that I stole a carton of cigarettes. Yeah, man. It was tough up there for me the early days. I got into the fight with that one dude. Then I was hosting one night, and I told the kid not to touch the microphone because it was broken. And he purposely went and took the mic off the thing. I asked him why he did it. He wanted to throw a punch at me. Then I fucking zapped him up there, and then I caught him down La Jolla, and I hit him with a pool cue. I put him with a pool. I threw a fucking... You know those white balls from when you're playing pool?
Yeah.
Cue ball.
I set the place up like Code of Silence. Chuck Norris, 83. Steven Seagal did it in that one movie about Brooklyn, but he stole it from Chuck Norris and Code of Silence and shit. I threw it at his car door. It sounded like a bomb went off. He thought ISIS was in town. He took off, and he showed up with a water pistol to spray me with a gun. Here I showed up with a white cue ball. Boom! He just took off and called the Comedy Store in La Jolla. I mean, I had a lot of drama at the store, like that type of shit, but Mitzi loves that shit. That's Mitzi's world.
People leave jobs because they don't like coworkers. It's amazing. All these stories I hear about comedians, it's amazing that more of you just don't. It's amazing that as many of you survive that do. Like, I don't get. To me, like, you must.
There's a lot that didn't make it.
Bro, there's a lot of
that didn't make it.
disappear.
I get
Jesus
it.
Christ, why do you think I'm over here fucking confused? Because I stuck with it for 20 years just at the store. I've been doing it for 26, 27 this year, hopefully. But think about it. I never did nothing good. I sold drugs. That was the only thing I was good at. That's the only longevity I had. From 16 to fucking, to 10 years ago. I knew how to make a buck flipping coke and stomping it. And
You're still giving out the Joey Diaz award to drug dealers back in New York, right?
But dog, when I first started comedy, you gotta consider how many nights I was fiending coke until some sucker came up to me and said, "You know what to get an 8-ball?" And you're like, Jesus, there is a God up in the sky. And you're like, I can get an 8-ball for $180, but I'll charge you $240. And I'll buy a gram from him. I'll get a fucking bump from him. And and I'll get a $5,000 from this bitch. That's a party for a guy like me in those days. That's Miami Vice type money. I didn't have big expectations. As long as I had $20 cash and like $1.5 grams of coke in those days, I was good. I didn't need a penthouse or a boat. I didn't need chicks hanging out in bikinis. I didn't need
$20. That's all you wanted.
That's it. I could go to a bar, have a couple cocktails, and buy breakfast in the morning. I'm good. And tomorrow's another struggle. Tomorrow I'll bump into another sucker.
I love it.
Let me give some shout outs here.
Day-to-day plan.
Real quick. This is interesting tonight. Otter John 73. I love you, cocksucker. Rob bets on fights. Robert Loomis, Ryan Dow, Kevin Stanley, Space Monkey Sean, my main man, the Australian Warrior, got my back. Jordan Dixon and Steve Kovac, you bad motherfuckers. What are you going to do? Again, we're talking about your
hello
comedy
to Chuck
career.
Bowman's son. Big fan of the show.
What's happening, Chuck Bowman's son? I love you bad motherfucker. Keep it together up
He's
there.
going to be very happy that
Where
just
is
happened. He's in, or they live in Oviedo, where I'm from, in Florida.
Oviedo,
they came and
Florida.
saw my show at the Improv in Orlando. I play there every Christmas time. And he was like, man, you do Joey Diaz's show. He's a big fan of the show. I'm like, yeah, Joey's a buddy of mine. It was funny. Like, nothing else impressed him. But
Hilarious.
that was...
hilarious. It's like when you have a young nephew or niece and they kind of like you, and then you pop up on one of their favorite TV shows, and one day the phone rings, and it's like, listen, my son wants to talk to you. Why? He doesn't even talk to me. He went, Uncle Joey, I saw you as the Meatball King today. Oh, boy. I'm so proud of you. Now I can tell my friends you're the Meatball King and shit. I swear to God, I went home one time. The chick called me. She's like, you need to do me a favor. My son told the kids he knows the Meatball King. They don't believe him. Can you just go to the school with me and go by the fence? I swear to God. I just had to get out of the car and wave. And he's like, I told you, motherfuckers. I told you. I know people and shit. That's my Uncle Joey. 3 years later, he never fucking liked me when he was a kid.
That's
it's amazing.
I
what
remember
happens.
years ago when I had that sitcom, my Margie called me up. She lived in Maryland, and some kid that lived near them was saying, it's like the kid was like 10 or 12 years old, and he was running his mouth at school saying that he knew me. And the kids at school were like, no, fuck you don't know that guy. So she asked me to sign a picture for the kid. He was getting harassed at school. And I said, look, Margie, I don't know this fucking kid. Maybe he shouldn't be running his mouth at school, you know? So I'm going to have to sign a picture like we know each other so this kid cannot be harassed? Maybe this is where he should learn his lesson.
You know, I am always been in awe of you. I watch you at the store sometimes, and, you know, deep down inside, I know I'm just a fucking character.
No, you're
That's
a wrecking
dirty
ball.
and whatever,
I love
you know.
watching you too.
Guys like you think stuff out, and you're very likable and the whole thing. And it's so weird that you started at 17. At 17, if I would have started comedy, I would have quit when I was 18. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a weak fuck at 17. Like, did you say you quit high school? No, you didn't.
No, I didn't quit. I graduated, and then I went right on the road.
But you were doing comedy in high school.
Started in 11th grade, yeah.
Like a pizza place?
No, it was the club, the comedy club in Orlando, which at the time was the Funny Farm. And I had to get a fake ID to perform there. You had to be 21 to get into the clubs. And back then in Florida, maybe it was the same in New York back then, but when you got your driver's license, they gave you a pink slip with it in case you lost it. So you could bring the pink slip in to get your license replaced. So my older brother, John, who was 21, I took his pink slip to the DMV. I'm sure the statute of limitations is run out. And he made me like memorize all his information, like his social security and all this. And I went and had my photo taken on his license. So it was flawless.
I did the exact same thing without the photo. In Jersey, growing up, there was no pictures.
What, on the license?
On the license.
You're kidding.
It was a 3-fold license.
Wow.
Back, front, your name, date, where you lived in Jersey, what kind of license you had. So if you had it for years, I was Michael Lebrano. For
Yeah.
a couple of years, I was this kid named Screech. I had them all. Skeech, something like that. They called him because he was tight. Like he was cheap with money. They called him Skeech. So one of my friends robbed his identity. And that's what you did in those days. You sold everybody your spare license, which was even better. And the only thing they would ask you in those days was what sign are you? That's it.
At the drivers at the DMV.
No, at all the clubs, and you went up there.
That's funny.
What sign are you, motherfucker?
That was I learned that trick too when I was at the movie theater. They told me to just ask people what their birthday was.
What their birthday was. It was kind of fucking crazy.
And then they freeze.
I should say that plan worked great until I got a speeding ticket on my brother's license, and he beat me up and took it away from me. But for a good 2 years, I had a good run. But I was already in with the clubs by then.
And when were you starting to go on the road? How old?
18. I graduated from high school when I was 18 years old, and some touring comedians had come through. And I remember the first, because in high school I had done all these shitty one-nighters. I was a senior in high school. I was opening up for Brian Regan. I was in San Francisco last weekend. Brian Regan came by. He was playing at the Masonic Theater. I've known Brian Regan as long as I've been a comedian. And we're great old friends. I used to open up for him doing these shitty butt-fuck one-nighter gigs. Mac's Famous Bar in Daytona. It was a really tough biker bar.
Where's he from originally?
Miami.
Brian Regan?
He's from Miami, baby. Yeah, his family's got from like 11 kids. And Brian was clean back then, and he would destroy the place. So when I was a senior, I was doing one-nighters all over Florida, and then through touring acts that had come through, I had made some connections. I remember like 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was booked in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I remember I drove halfway across the United States for $150. And I remember crossing the Tulsa city limits thinking to myself, I'm in show business. Man, I could have been doing the Tonight Show or SNL. That's how I felt. It was like, man, I'm in Tulsa, man. I'm getting paid, you know. And then like the next week, I was booked in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and then driving back to Florida. I stopped in like Indianapolis and Louisville, Atlanta, and did guest sets at the clubs, and trying to expand it.
He just went through changes.
The changes are starting now. Oh my god!
Did it kick in?
Oh yeah. We had a couple of stars, so it's starting to kick in.
What did you do?
Huh?
What did you do?
Oh, just stars.
Just stars at that. THC.
Oh, okay.
Nothing crazy.
What, he got a wire on? What,
he looks pretty.
Wait, they can give him bumps or something?
He looks like he's coming.
No,
yeah, he's coming, all right. He had 1,600 milligrams of THC. He's about to go.
He looks like he's in mid-orgasm.
Oh, no, we got to give him another star. We're going to call Guinness tonight. We're going deep tonight.
Oh my god.
He's going to sleep like a baby.
I'll say anything on this show. I'm screwed later in life. I've done everything on this show, so it doesn't. I don't mind saying anything.
The first time I did this show, and it was at your apartment. Wow. And Joey, you had some weed. I was so high halfway in the conversation. I just I felt like I might have been out for like 10 minutes. And I talked to you about it later, and you were like, no, you were fine. But like, there was just like, I was like seeing stars and little birds floating around my head.
I'm going to make a confession right here. My anxiety started in that apartment with Lee. Our bodies could not handle. Poor Lee. People think I break Lee's balls. Let me tell you something. I know Lee's a tank because Lee would go joint for joint with me at 5:30 in the morning. Nobody does that. Animals do that. And this is when animals do that. Prisoners of war do that type of shit.
People have been tortured in prison camps.
Nobody smokes pot at 5:30 in the morning. Nobody. That's animalistic shit.
And maybe they take one hit off of a joint.
Maybe you get breakfast first. Just be civilized. Read the paper. You know what I'm saying? Drink a cup of coffee. We were drinking coffee, going to his house, and getting blasted. And I got to tell you, that was when I was getting the first dose of anxiety. That was when there was times I had to take the earphones off, being in that fucking room.
Remember we used to have Diet Coke at 6 a.m.? Each of us would have a Diet Coke?
That's terrible for you. Terrible. That early morning shit we did.
But it's cool what you guys did, though. Like, you really kind of started the show, like kind of a mom and pop organization.
This was it.
It took off, and you guys were doing great then. But like, just the way it grew from that to this now is really cool.
Tom, it's I as soon as I looked,
You
and
guys are a corporation now.
It's as soon as I looked and I remembered that you came a second time, but in my head, I only remembered the first visit, and I was thinking about that today because I knew you were coming on. I was like, we had the Lysol wipes as our tripods.
Yeah,
We had the Lysol.
Everything was set up on the like your kitchen table or something.
Not even a kitchen table, fucking a card table and a desk, and it's that was like 4 years ago. It's crazy how far it's come.
It's beautiful.
I was talking to the lady who does publicity for New Wave today, and she was telling me that she's learning new shit every day, that the traditional publicist is a thing of the past. Like, even she's behind because of what's going on now. The internet's a new animal now.
Right.
The internet has become a new fucking animal. You know, they don't even want to release the pictures of how many numbers of how many people on the internet on a daily fucking basis watching something. Videos, comedy shows, stand-up specials, old movies, The Little Rascals. This shit runs shit now. This runs stuff, you know. We're like pirate radio. But it's tremendous. I love that we pick our hours. I love that this is our little fucking wall here. I love everything about this. This has been a great, you know, who would have known when you got into stand-up that this...
You could do anything yourself now. It's great.
Yeah, you can do anything yourself. I see these young kids sweating specials. I pull them aside and go, listen, Comedy Central don't give it to you. What are they going to do, play your special one time and move on? Forget that. Put 10 minutes on every 90 days. Watch your career grow like a savage. People that are on their work every day, get on Twitter, put a fucking 10-minute set on there every 90 days. What? Do that fucking for 18 months. Call me back and give me a commission, all right? Call me back and give me a fucking commission. That's the recipe there.
I've been putting out these weekly videos called Knowledge Nuggets.
Absolutely.
Have you seen those?
No. Nobody fucking send them to me. You know, they're not going to knock on my door and say, Joey, what the fuck? You send it to me on Twitter, I'll retweet it for you. Get it out there for you.
Oh,
brother.
okay, I will. But yeah, they're just like little factoids, things that I think people should know, you know?
But I'm still impressed with the 17 shit on the road. I would have never had the discipline, the balls. I mean, I left Jersey at 18, 19. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I knew
I just didn't.
I knew college wasn't for me. My family didn't have money to send me to college, you know? And they weren't teaching stand-up comedy. You know, I knew I wanted to be a comedian from the time I was 12. So I was writing jokes in notebooks from 12 to 17. And in high school, I hosted the pep rallies and the talent shows. So I was already kind of warming up. And then, you know, I was a student of comedy. My dad had Richard Pryor records. I remember Kinnison coming out when I was like in 10th grade. That blew my mind, you know. And
you never wavered from 12 on? You were never like, maybe I'll be a veterinarian and that was for a year?
No, I think up till about 15, it was either a stand-up comedian or a Major League Baseball player. And then kids started throwing the curveball, and then I couldn't hit it, so I knew it was not going to be baseball.
Well, yeah, that's crazy that until 15, because baseball seems like one that would be like as a younger kid one.
More attainable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, it was my dream, and comedy was exciting. Like in the 80s, it was, you know, David Letterman and all this alternative shit was happening.
Really?
On you know, Stephen Wright, Emo Phillips. There was a lot of cool shit happening.
And as a 17-year-old, you saw that on TV, or?
Yeah, I used to get the TV guide at the beginning of the week, and I would look through all the talk shows, and I would circle when they would have comedians on. And so, like, Johnny Carson was my university professor. I worshipped Carson, and I loved when he would have comedians on. And so I would watch these people, and then HBO had the HBO specials. I would watch those. Watch SNL, anything that had anything to do with stand-up comedy. It was my that was my schooling.
What did your friends say when you were going home on a Friday night to watch these things? Or
well, after 17, I was going to the comedy club.
Right.
So like I would skip a lot of football games and dances and stuff to go do stand-up on the weekends.
Okay.
So they were. I mean, you know, they had to endure a lot of cheesy jokes. Like I remember when I started doing comedy at 17, all my thoughts were the thoughts of a 17-year-old. So it was all like trying to get laid on dates and things like that. I found it when I had everything in storage for 10 years. And when I got everything out of storage, I found I've been keeping comedy notebooks, like hardback notebooks, from the time I was 20. But I actually found one of my comedy notebooks from when I was 17. And do you want me to lay a joke on you from the 17-year-old Tom Rhodes?
Hit me.
Okay, so 1984, if you remember, Africa was starving. Remember?
Yes.
Live Aid.
Live Aid, yeah.
And then if you remember, men's fashion had a lot of paisley. Okay, so here's a joke that was in my 17-year-old notebook that when I was looking through it when I moved in and got everything out of storage.
Hit me.
I gave a bunch of clothes to charity. And the man at the charity shop said that these clothes were going to be sent to Africa. Oh, I could see some guy in Africa wearing my clothes going, gee, I hope this paisley vest doesn't clash with my genitals.
We'll move on.
That was the 17-year-old me.
Listen, man. Yeah. No. You don't even want to hear what's coming out of my mouth. 28, so.
Can I plug some dates?
You're way ahead of me. No, we're not done yet. We're still yakking. I'm still. When did you start featuring? If you started.
Oh my God,
17?
I think about when I was 22, 23. Yeah, I emceed for like 5 years. 6 years. Yeah, maybe 5.
I emceed for 4 years. The first time I featured was for Laurie Kilmartin at the Seattle Comedy Underground Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend, 1995.
I loved that room. That original Underground was fantastic. The King Dome was across the street.
With the fucking roaches on the nachos and the smell of humidity. Yeah. Oh, if you ever went to see me there, Lee, and I knew who you were, like you like nachos?
No, I don't anymore. What are you talking about?
No, I wouldn't have told you. I would have just bought your nachos and put you in a certain chair behind the thing. And while you're looking at the comedian laughing, eating the nachos, there'd be a water bug on the other side of your nachos, and you'd see his antennas moving while he's sucking the milk out of the cheese through his little antennae in his stomach.
And yet you don't like when people give you
I would be at the beam waiting to go up because you walked from where the office was, from Ron Reed's office. So you always walk to the right of the stage at the old Underground, and while I was bringing you up, you stopped at that beam on my right. Okay, that beam, you stood there for a minute because if the guy was long-winded, this guy would always reach out and go, good luck. But while you were talking to him, there'd be like, it was very dark. He's watching the show. His girlfriend's watching the show. The roaches were smart. They'd go to the opposite end where they were sitting. Uh-huh. They couldn't see the fucking roach. I'd see the roach in plain sight and another roach on the table going to join his brother. I wouldn't say 2 words.
You have to say something.
I wouldn't say 2 fucking words. If you let a roach go on your nachos, you deserve to what you're getting. You understand?
But the nachos, you can't see them.
Fuck them.
They're attacking from all angles.
Fuck him. He should put them close to him. Oh. He shouldn't get nachos at the Comedy Underground. You should know better, you dumb fuck.
You remember the condo that they would put you in? It was in Pioneer Square. It was like 2 blocks.
You know what? I never went up there.
Oh,
I never went. I never was one of the headliners there.
Pioneer Square was all these like junkies and heroin addicts
and fucking
but it was,
fist fights.
You're staying right downtown Seattle.
You
was
were
great.
a block and a half from the club. That area. I loved that area.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you. There was a teriyaki place next to
it. It was great there.
Next to the Underground. The Underground was great. That experience for what it was for me at that time was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I was stuck. I was living in Boulder and I had a decision to make whether I wanted to be a comedian or I wanted to fight hand-in-hand combat for the fucking child custody. I was losing my mind. I was losing the battle, but I wasn't going to lose the war. And I was going to do something ugly. So I said, you know what? I got this little freak that lives in Seattle. She says if I move up there and get a job, she'll let me put it in her muffler. I might as well. I did a triple run that took me right to Portland, dog. He financed the whole move for me, $120 a night, whatever the fuck he paid.
Working your way across.
Working my way up the fucking peninsula. That night after the gig, I couldn't wait to get to a house. I moved in with him. The rest, was a fucking nightmare for a year and a half, but I pulled it off, and I became a comedian. I knew what it was. I lived in an office. I knew what it was to take a shower at the gym. You learn how to hustle voiceover work and
how do you get that? I'd love to do voiceover.
This was in Seattle, where it was a small market, but from time to time, you'd get a call. Can you do a regular white guy accent? Yeah, come down. $35 a day. They were robbing you.
All right,
but. When you're living hand in the fucking mouth and you have to wait till 10 o'clock to eat dinner because that's when the happy hour at that one place, McCormick and Schmidt's, They had the $2 menu, so you couldn't. It was from 4 to 7 or 10 to 11. So if you were broke, you had to wait till 4 to eat, dog. 4. $10 at McCormick and Schmidt's got you 2 fucking crab cakes, a hamburger, an order of fries, a bottle of frozen Coke, and maybe a shrimp cocktail for $10. If you had another fin, you tipped her. And then you wait to go to the comedy club, see what the guy was paying, how many people would show up, and you go right back to McCormick and Schmidt's at 10 o'clock. And the happy hour was 10 to close in those days. Same menu. Crab cakes, fucking cheeseburger, French fries. They charge you $2 for French fries, but you would kill for these fucking things at McCormick and Schmidt's. It's an interesting fucking life. You know, like our friend Stanhope lived in a car. He was the one that gave me the idea to put the fucking curtain in the back of my Nissan. You know, I saw Doug's travel car like in 1995 in Seattle. 96. The one he was using to travel across the country with the fucking hanger in the back, and his whole life was in the back seat. He had it all proportioned, footballs. I copied the whole fucking blueprint. He's like, just move on the road. I was like, that's not a bad idea. I put a fucking hanger in the back. In the back was a pillow, a blanket, you know, toilet paper, more toilet paper, emergency toilet paper. If you cut somebody with a knife, toilet paper. I had a knife in there. I had fucking those little candles. You know, what do you call those flamingo things with the thing, the pinks?
The motive.
What do you call those things? They have pink in there and they're flammable. You could fucking light a builder.
Oh,
Flares?
Yeah.
No,
they're the cans. They're in the little cans.
When you go camping, you pop the can and you put a marshmallow stick in there and shit, and the marshmallow gets black. Tell me you never did that, Lee.
I went camping.
Even I'm a mook. I had a shitty fucking childhood like with doing that type of shit, and I know that you get a can of Rubio, whatever the fuck it is. You pop it open.
In a can.
You put a lighter to it, and then you get a little fucking stick, and you get a marshmallow like a half a fag, and you sit there for 10 minutes, and it cooks the marshmallow. Even I fucking know that, Lee. And I'm a fucking, you know, you never did that with a marshmallow.
I would just build a fire.
Flamo.
That's it.
Some fucking shit like that.
I think Flamo is probably illegal now. Flamo doesn't sound that safe. Flamo sounds like something before regulations.
Yeah, I think
that was even like a fake product in like a 30 Rock product.
I think somebody would complain if you had a product called Flamo today. That's not conducive with the fucking LBGT
fire.
community. Somebody would complain. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes I gotta make a rude fucking dash for the bathroom. If you want to fucking judge me, wait till you get 50 years old and everything you drink comes right out of you 10 minutes later. You can't even sleep at night. You got to go into drop mode before you go to sleep when you're 50. You got to sit there and not drink anything for 2 hours. Some nights I go to bed so fucking thirsty, I put that sleep apnea mask on. I wake up like one of those fucking black kids in Africa. I can't breathe. I can't do nothing. I got cotton mouth all the way down to my fucking esophagus because I'm scared to fucking drink something so I don't get up in the middle of the night. And do you know what? Even if I stop drinking fluid at 6 o'clock, at 3:30, there'll be 2 fucking minutes worth of piss in my leg somewhere that drains in the middle of the fucking night. So I'm sorry if you're judging me, but wait till you turn fucking 50, cocksuckers.
At least you don't pee your bed.
No, it's been years. I've had accidents over the years, but it's been years. That last one, 3-4 years ago, was it. That's it.
That's it? I haven't had...
And it was from the surgery.
I haven't had one for a while. Thank God.
I went into shock.
I'm not looking forward to... I've never done it with a girl in the bed. That's going to be weird. That's going to be bad.
Just look at them and go, what happened? You get up, you throw your underwears on the fucking floor, and you wake her up and go, what happened to you last night? She'll say to you, my panties are dry. It couldn't have been me. Like, what are you, crazy? You were sleepwalking. I knew you were doing something creepy in the middle of the night. 33 years, Tom Rhodes.
33 years, my brother.
All right, so now it took you 5 years to feature. When did you start headlining after that? Where was your first destination move? Was it SF?
Well, yeah. After that first year, when I moved to New York when I was 20, I lived there for a year. And then I moved back to Florida and licked my wounds for a year. And then I moved to San Francisco when I was 22. And then that's where I really got good as a comedian. It was a great scene in
when you were 22, what year was it?
91, I think.
No. You're fucking 50. I'm 54. It couldn't have been 91. I was 21 in 85.
90. So what? I was 23 then.
23. This
23.
Comedy scene in this country was on a fucking boom.
Yeah.
By that time, I had got locked up. All right, I had gotten locked up. By the time I got to my final destination, they put me in the kitchen. I almost blew up the fucking kitchen. They made me a baker fist in this all-black kitchen. They always ask you when you check in, you ever have that disease? And I'm like, I got no fucking diseases. Nobody told me you're supposed to say you had it at one time because then they won't put you in the kitchen. I didn't want to be labeled with a guy with disease. I got no disease. They ask you if you had you ever have whooping cough? No. Go see the guy in the kitchen. He's looking for workers and shit. You're like, what the fuck? I don't want to work in the kitchen. I got a driver's license. I want to work. So when I went to the kitchen, they made me a baker for like 3 or 4 days. But they made me make cinnamon muffins. I almost blew up the fucking kitchen, the oven, because I left the oven. I swear to God, the things got huge. Everybody laughed at me and shit. So he fired me from the bakery and he made me a dishwasher, stock clerk. And I had my own region in the fucking thing, but that's not important. Every night you had a different activity that you could either attend or not attend. The most popular activity was movie night. They wouldn't play anything good, nothing current. It's like, they would have the stand-up. It was something that you didn't want to watch that the prisons picked. And then they cut it. There was no sex in it and shit, whatever. But the projector would keep fucking breaking. And when I used to fuck around in the kitchen, since I was a dishwasher, I would be there when the guys were eating. And if the food wasn't good, I had different guys that I would let them know what not to eat. Like they had canned shit, dog. This is the lowest grade food you could buy. That's what you eat as a prisoner. When you see it, you can't fucking believe it. Thank God you had a 20-minute furlough every day to buy food. And I knew dudes who cooked food. And I could clip the good stuff, like eggs for guys to help them out and shit like that. But I would always make jokes with this black guy named Etchy that was in there for bank robbery and armed robbery. Cool.
Did you call him Sketchy?
No, his name was Etchy. He was about 6'4", 185 pounds. He looked like the Detroit Hitman. What was his name? The fighter.
Thomas Hitman Hearns.
He looked just like Etchy. Looked just like him. And I would tell Etchy that I'd give him extra mashed potatoes if he'd come into the jail facility and say, "Freeze!" And the head of the kitchen would always go, "Mr. whatever his name was, Mr. Edwards, stop that already." But he would always walk in real calm and collected and just go, "Freeze," loud. And the whole place would fucking stop. They were all street guys, so they all knew, like, "Freeze." And they'd stop. Then they'd turn around and go, "Etchy, you black motherfucker, knock it off." But Etchy had a sense of humor, these other guys, so I got into goofing with them. And they would call me Cuba, and I would call them whatever. "You fucking black fuck, get it together and shit. I'll have them ship you back to Cuba, you fuck." They'll confuse you for one of those Cubans, and they'll make you cut, just light stuff,
Man. I spent 1 weekend in jail in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Not a DUI.
No, man, it was a fucked up story. My really good friend of mine from high school, our senior year, he had moved to Little Rock. And like I said, I started out on the southern circuits. So I would go see this guy whenever I was anywhere near Arkansas. I'd drive out of my way, go see him. So we had, I stopped off to see him in Little Rock. He had set up, some girls for us to take out. And back then, there's a river that runs right beside Little Rock, Arkansas, and there's the downtown. And there was this big field, big empty field. I'm sure that now that's where the Clinton Library is. But teenagers used to go park there and drink and make out with girls. And, you're looking at the city on the other side of the river. So we're sitting there drinking beer with these girls, two swinging chicks from Camp Robinson, some area in Little Rock. And then all these cop cars come from both directions, and all these kids are running, and they're busting people for drinking. And my dad was in the military, my brother's in the military. There was two cops. One took me and my girl to one side of the car, and the other cop took him and his girl to the other side of the car. So because I've been around military people, and I know you don't run your mouth to cops, I'm yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir. And the words had just left my cop's mouth. He said, "You can pour out the beer and I will let you go." And right as those words left his mouth, I could hear my friend on the other side of the car go, "Well, fucking take us to jail then." So they took us all to jail. And this was like on a Friday night. And because they all had Arkansas addresses, they all got out within like an hour or two. And because I had an out-of-state license, I had to stay until Monday morning for to go in front of a judge. And the first day was okay. I was in the drunk tank. And, just like whatever year it was, 86. And these black dudes in the jail were calling me, they thought I looked like Tom Cruise. "What'd you in for, Top Gun?" They were calling me Top Gun. "What'd you do, Top Gun?" It's a drunk tank. It was kind of fun. They bring in some old guy, and he's like, Otis the town drunk, and he lies down, he's drunk, he's sleeping it off. But on day 2, they put me in like serious jail. And there was like nowhere to sit. There's like a picnic bench in the middle of the room, and the jail's overcrowded. There's like 5 guys sitting on like the top bunk, and I didn't go to the bathroom. I was terrified. There's like a toilet in the corner, and then actually the in front of the judge on the Monday, the cop came and told the judge that I was courteous and said yes sir, no sir, and it was my friend Tim. Hope he listens to this.
It's funny because this is going to be a weird statement, and Lee's eyeballs are going to open up. But some of the funniest times I've had have been in county jail. Some of the most laughter that's ever come out of my mouth has been in county jail. And I'll tell you what's spectacular about that. You're sober in there, and you have nothing to laugh about. But the situational comedy is hysterical. And if you have it 3/4 together, like I always did, yeah, I was a flunky and a thief, and I was snorting coke. But I had it together in other ways. Like I had a job at the time of my arrest. I had a driver's license. I had a GED. All these things. These guys didn't have that. I thought I was a loser. I had a GED, a driver's license. I sold cars. Like they were like, you had a job for a year before you got in trouble. They were like fascinated. Like I was like a fucking experiment. That was what was weird about it.
Was it like nervous laughter? Like you just were so angry and like upset about being in there, or was it like genuine laughter?
You fucking asshole.
What's funny, I just read this quote by Samuel Beckett yesterday, and he said, "Nothing is funnier than unhappiness."
There's nothing. No, like I'm thinking of a situation one time in Seattle. I got arrested on a Friday night. I get to the holding tank at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday. You're going to see some action.
I don't want to see action. I don't want to see action at all.
I'm trying to sleep over here.
I got a seat. Nobody's going to sleep. You either could sit down. There's nowhere to sleep. But that night, there was one Asian guy, and I thought he was going to be cute. And he's laying on the metal with his feet up and shit. And all of a sudden, the door's open, and the guy walks in, and he's looking for a seat, and there's no seat. And he taps the Asian guy, and the guy won't open his eyes, and he taps him again, he won't open his eyes. So this guy just sits on his fucking head. He just sits on his fucking head. I see the whole thing go down. This Asian guy pops up and goes into a karate stance. And the Spanish guy just sits there and he goes, "What's the matter you? What's the matter you? I tap you 2 times, you don't move it, okay? I sit down, fuck you." The Chinese guy said, "Okay, you made sense," and they sat down.
Oh, fuck.
Like that was brilliant. Like that was like a quick thing. That another time I saw a guy walk in when I was a young man. One of the scariest things I ever felt in my life was I was at the Tombs.
Oh, in New York City.
I was at the Tombs.
Wow.
And I was going to spend the weekend in there from a Saturday. I was going to spend 2 nights in there.
Holy fuck, really?
I'm 30 years old. I just got into comedy, and a friend of a friend, and next thing you know, 3 of us get put in the Tombs. I walk in there, I'm chilling. There's fucking 90 people, and there's 6 chairs. One of the guys I walk in with punches a guy that's sitting down, takes the chair and sits on the chair.
Wow.
I don't have to tell you. That's not my world, dog. I would have stood all night just to be left the fuck alone.
Do you remember? I don't want to cut you off.
No. That was the story there. That was it.
Do you remember? It was like one of the first things I ever did for Comedy Central. I did this series of little commercials. They played them in the commercial breaks. They're called interstitials. But remember when Dennis Leary did those things on MTV where like they filmed his joke like a rock star?
Give me the year.
Oh, I guess this would be like 92, 93, somewhere like that. So like Dennis Leary had done these things on MTV where they filmed him telling his jokes and it looked like a rock video. So Comedy Central did that with me. And that was the first thing that kind of got me attention on Comedy Central that led to other stuff. So they filmed like 6 of my jokes like rock videos. And it was in a jail cell. And it was the Comedy Central thing was Comedy Central, where hot new comedians do time. We filmed those at the Tombs in New York City. There was one section that they had rented out. And we spent like 3 or 4 hours in there. They had they like pumped smoke in, and I was like, I'm swinging on the jail door, and I'm behind the bars at one point. They did all these different angles of me telling these jokes. So we must have filmed in there for like 3 or 4 hours, and they were the spots were really cool looking. But even just filming television, I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. That was like one of the creepiest places I've ever been.
Place.
I just want to know what they did with the people who were in those cells before you rented them out.
I don't know. Like maybe it was shower time.
All the cells for 3 and 1, and
for a day.
It's a I could sit now against a bench. I could go home and write maybe 2 hours of stories from just comical shit I saw in county jail across the country. From fucking
county jail across the country.
Like I was probably in like maybe
you never get to know a place until you've seen their county jail, right?
One of the best county jail stories I ever had was when I got sentenced. The state of Colorado was overcrowded. So the first thing they tell you when you get sentenced and sign the paperwork is you're signing your consent to travel. You can't stay here, so you have to wait for an opening. You either go to fucking somewhere in Nebraska, or they would take you somewhere to South Texas. And I signed, fuck no. I'm not going nowhere. I want to stay in Colorado. If you did, they cut an extra third off of your time. I knew that there was a bill coming out to cut my time, so all I had to do was do my time. I didn't sign it, and they said to me, listen, you're going to sit in fucking county for 90 days. But it didn't matter because they're 2 days for one in county. They give you 2 days for one. That's the beauty of it. So I spent 3 weeks in there. It was like a month or something like that. So by the time I got sent to county, I kept thinking I was going to one of those prisons. You know where they sent me? Summit, Colorado, a ski resort. They were renting out cages. This was a fucking this is like you were one step from freedom. They went to Safeway for you. At night, every night, they took an order, you paid them, they went to Safeway for you.
Wow.
Booze, potato chip sandwiches. You could stay up till 2 watching TV.
Could you give me some capers?
No, nobody got capers then. But I was in there with a dude named Michael Bell. He hung out with this other little skinny, creepy fucking white dude. They weren't racist and nothing. He was just always talking about his girlfriend. I got the fucking hottest bitch in the world. She lets me come on her and shit. I'm going to beat her with an appeal, and I'm going to go back. You know what? I didn't see that motherfucker for years. I went somewhere. He had committed like attempted murder. He settled for 10 years. His bitch was fucking hotter than death. Do you know that 4 years later, I'm in my fucking dealership in Boulder, Colorado, and the cops come into the dealership and they're like, listen, you guys got to evacuate here. It's by 6 o'clock. We're closing the streets. Some guy shot 4 kids up in the mountains of Colorado. It was Michael Bell. He broke out of jail and went to chase that hot piece of pussy. She was cheating on him.
Wow.
That's what pussy does to a man. And he shot 4 kids with their own guns, dog. And he tried to, he cut a deal with the cops and they shot him in the neck. And when he went to the hospital to have surgery, there was only 2 doctors that could operate on him. One guy was out of the country, and the guy that could operate him, he shot one of his sons.
Oh, wow.
That afternoon. That's a fucked up story, but I was locked up with that dude. But that place was fun. That place was a lot of fun.
It sounds like a laugh riot.
Oh, I had a great time in there. Seattle jail sucked. County jail, Seattle, that sucked ass. That by that time, jails were already. That's it. They were on their way out. It was just a bad time. You can't smoke in there. The best county jail ever to party and fucking have a good time, Boulder County Jail. I had those motherfuckers in the palm of my hand, dog. Thanksgiving Day, I had the guy let the cell open, and I was making long-distance calls all day long to New Jersey, calling my friend. Listen, you haven't heard from me in a few weeks. I'm locked up.
Why?
Oh, my God.
You said earlier you could have gone to, like, Texas or somewhere. Why would people do that? Like, why wouldn't people do the county jail?
Because let's say I go to you, Syatt, you got 15 fucking years. You're a fucking animal. You know you're an animal.
Okay.
You killed that fucking kid after school on a drive-by. You're a fucking animal, okay? 15 fucking years. You're going to do all 15. You're going to do all 15 fucking years. But if you do the time in South Texas,
right,
we're going to give you 3 for 1 days.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So you got a chance to get out of here, you know, whatever the fucking math is. I'm not good with fucking math.
5 years.
Well, I did 15 fucking years. So you do 5 years, 10 years instead of 15. But you go down there and it's a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder how I keep from going under. Ha 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 ha. Broken glass everywhere. Anyway, that's the thing. Oh, they took you somewhere to Nebraska. I was told because of my rating that I was going to go to Rifle, Colorado, which was a party house up there. People were shooting heroin. They were eating pizzas. They were fucking, in the summer, they'd get you a job at the pool.
What?
In the winter, you got a job at the ski resort on the lifts and shit. So it wasn't a bad little camp. You could get furloughs, and there was a hotel where you went to.
What did you do at the pool?
Little ski outfits with stripes on them.
Broken glass everywhere.
White line.
Da-dun, 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 da-dun. Da-dun, 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 da-dun.
Did you ever do work release?
No, that's what I wanted at first. But the halfway house was sort of like work release.
I guess, yeah.
That was a party for me too. That's a shame. When I write that chapter of the book, it's going to be called The Real.
How far are you on your book?
I'm 3/4 through the proposal, brother. I dedicated myself to 1 sentence a day, and I'm up to a paragraph a day and cleaning up the paragraph from the day before.
Nice. I've been working on a book.
I'm making strides.
For the last 5 years. I finished the first draft, and I'm trying to get it together to make it presentable to get it published.
It's very hard to write a book about your life when you're talking about weird shit.
Yeah, well, it's you know, it's all my best stories from all over the world, you know.
Right now.
Traveling as a comedian, almost drowning in Thailand, getting maced in Paris, all this wacky. When I had the late night talk show in Amsterdam, I wrote all about my sitcom experience. You know, I've lived 9 lives.
I remember walking into the Improv one night. Your show had just gotten canceled. I really never had spoken to you before, and I was going to go up to you and say hello. You were sitting there. You had a look on your face like, I don't know what the fuck. So I didn't say nothing to you. I just always heard you were a good guy. So when I met you in Seattle the first time, then we got acquaintanced again in Houston with the beautiful Mr. Mark Babbitt.
That's right.
One of the best times of comedy in my life was Houston, Texas, and the fucking... But, wow, 33 fucking years. If you think I would, honest to God, when I got on stage that first time, if I was ever going to tell you guys I'd be doing comedy for 25 years or for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have believed it.
I would have.
I didn't believe it. I did not believe it.
I would be happy if I had a heart attack and died on stage.
No, don't say that. God forbid.
I mean, there's a couple comedians have done it, but I mean, I don't ever want to quit. I don't ever see myself doing anything else. It's my oxygen. You know, I was born to do it. I love it.
It's my oxygen also. You know what? It changed my life. It was like a religion for me. I really bought into it.
Yeah.
You know, I really watched the specials and I took notes.
That's how I was telling Lee when you went to the bathroom. I studied it. Like
I studied it and took notes, and I realized what I wanted to do, and I spoke to local comics, and I saw where their careers had gotten, and I could see that. I spoke to somebody one day, and he broke it down for me. He goes, either you want to remove the safety net or you want to keep having the safety net the rest of your life. And I'll never forget going, how am I going to tell my fucking wife I want to do comedy? They almost hate me already. They already hate me. The family's already going on that path. You know, and all of a sudden, one day I walk in and she goes, listen, I don't want to be married no more. I want to get separated.
Ding, ding.
And it was amazing. It was like, oh my God.
I'm unshackled.
I'm going to be able to do fucking comedy. Oh my God. I cannot believe this is happening. Oh my fucking God. This is real. Like, I'm like, this is fucking real. Like, that door just opened up, you know?
Yeah. Even at its, the toughest times is when you're going through some hard shit in your life. You know, like, my dad was killed by a drunk driver in 2009. My little sister died of breast cancer in 2011. It was a couple years after that. It was really difficult. But still looking back on it, I don't know what I would have done without comedy. The fact that I could go on stage, you know, I had so much material to fall back on from doing it for so long. But just to be able to take my brain and put it on a shelf and do comedy and be cleansed in the laughter of strangers, you know, that, and forget about my grief for a minute. It was invaluable. I don't know what normal people do when they have problems. People who don't have comedy, you know, and now it's great. I stopped partying, kicked the cigs, and it's like when I started when I was 17. The comedy's the drug, again.
You know, I was in an ugly divorce, and I went back to Colorado, and I thought that I could not get together with my wife, but figure out a settlement where I could see the child more and, you know, try to be more responsible and stuff. But at the same time, I wanted to do comedy, you know. And one day that didn't seem like it was going to work. And I remember for like a month during the holidays, every time I'd drop her off for 2 minutes, my hands would shake. I'd cry, and then I'd just smoke a joint, and then I'd go home, you know, defeated. Like, how could I do comedy? And I'll never forget, it was like the last week of December, like 2 nights before New Year's. And it was a Wednesday, and I said, you know what? Why do I feel this way? Let me go do stand-up. And I went to some cheesy bar and got on stage, and I'm like, wow, I'm on to something. Not only did I feel better, but I had a great set. Because the anger that I had in me,
yeah,
the fucking pain.
When you're going through serious emotions.
Ooh, and I was having some great sets with garbage material. Just ranting and spitting from the mouth and foaming, the whole fucking deal. And today, you know, 20 years after I went through that situation, I don't know how I did it. I really used comedy. And I did that from January till June of that year. Every Wednesday, it was the same routine. I'd pull over, cry, watch them pull away. I'd smoke a joint, and I'd head up the 36 to the 70 to go do comedy in Denver. And the whole way I'd be crying and smoking and listening to good music. And by the time I got on the I-70, I'd be okay. And once on the way home, I would go, you know what? I'm going to fucking make it in comedy and show them. You know, that was the attitude back then. Like, at least I got my comedy. I was delivering Chinese food and selling coke at the same time. You know, oh my God, it was tremendous. I'd make like $60 a night delivering Chinese food, and I'd clean up and make like a gram of fucking coke to go home and snort in my little rocky apartment. It was maybe a little bigger than this, with a refrigerator, a stove, and I had a bedroom, and the whole bedroom was a bed. I had like a king-size bed. That's all that fit in that bedroom. There was no fucking pictures, no murals, nothing. It was just a bed. There was no door. You just walked into it and you fell right over into the king-size bed. I never changed the sheet the whole year I lived there.
Oh, my God.
It was just a sheet would come on it and God knows what else. Toenail juice and
crumbs and
cocaine from your nose. It was disgusting. It was a clean apartment. It was a very fucking clean apartment. I went to the weed store tonight, and they had the cutest little fucking kitten over there. Did you see it, Lee?
I didn't go over there today.
Oh, my God. It was like a little fucking Demi. He was a little Siamese, and he fucking attacked my hand. I'm like, you cocksucker.
You gonna steal
and
him?
when I went home, he jumped over. He wanted to go home. Well, let's do it, big guy. I'll come home with you. He kept looking at me and scratching.
He's like on the, he's running around near.
Yeah, he belongs to the weed store. His name is like Brutus. He's fucking gorgeous.
What goes on with that dog? Do you know? Do they bring that dog home at night?
They don't feed that dog. That's like one of those dogs you see in one of those Humane Society commercials. That dog hasn't eaten in 2 years.
Probably stays there as the guard.
Yeah, he's a guard at night. You break into that weed store, you're going to be missing a fucking arm.
Jesus Christ.
They let him in there. You might break the alarm system, the electrical. You got to shoot that motherfucker, throw a steak and put him to sleep. Or
They put him in there at night?
No, they leave him outside. No, yeah, they put him in there at night. You can't leave him outside. It's against the fucking law.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Talk to this fucker.
I've never investigated the weed store.
I remember we had a German Shepherd when I was a kid, Butch, and the dog had made the tactical error of thinking our family owned the neighborhood, and it would attack people riding their bike in front of our house. And one time my brother was wrestling with this kid, and the dog thought the kid was attacking my brother, so the dog like kind of ripped his ear off, and they took the dog away, and then the dog was guarded a roller skating rink, like outside, like the outer fence perimeter. My dad took us to see the dog a couple times. So I always think about that. They're like a lot of dogs that are out of their minds end up guarding places.
When I see a dog guarding a place, I don't communicate. I don't do nothing. That dog's a professional. He's been around the world. He's been beaten. He's been lit on fire. His whole fucking demographic has changed. You know what I'm saying? Take a human, beat him, rape him, fuck him in the ass, make him drink cum mixed with blood and shit. You try to break those people, you'll never break them. By the time they're 19, they're shooting people like fucking taxi driver. That's what happens to those people. That dog doesn't even have hair. They lit him on fire in Russia. They brought him from Russia. That's one of Trump's buddies' dogs. Take him to go to that weed store. On the way out here, go straight down the corner and just make the first right and hit Burbank Boulevard. See if he's out there. He's a fucking monster. How big is he, Lee?
He's like probably at least a 100-pound dog, 70 to 100-pound dog.
I think he's a little bigger. I think he's about $140. He's a big fucking creature of death.
He might be.
You park and he barks at you. Like, he don't want you going in there.
He has been
Meaner than a junkyard dog.
Oh, my God. I hate those fucking dogs. I got bit by those motherfuckers. I got bit in the face, man. Tom Rhodes, man, keep doing your podcast. That was a good time I had on your podcast.
Thanks, man. We should do it again.
Don't take a break.
I took a break. I need to get it rolling again.
Yeah, don't give up with that stuff because people always want to hear from you, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
This is something that's...
Well, you know what it was? Excuse me, my thing when I was traveling around the world, I wasn't living anywhere for 10 years. So my podcast was... interviewing, people I met around the world and comedian, friends of mine around the world and stuff. And so living in LA after a year, it's like I kind of, I'd hang out with people. I met some really cool people. And, it's like, I don't know, didn't want to, instead of saying, hey, would you do my podcast? I'd rather just like hang out with people and be cool, but I need to get over that and just do it.
And you're still sober.
Yeah.
Looking great. Your skin
3 years
good.
off the booze, 2 years off the cigarettes, and then I stopped smoking weed at the beginning of the year.
No blood, no,
nothing. Absolutely.
No Gorilla biscuits, no ups, no downs,
Nothing.
no Adderall.
No.
You're fucking all vegan.
Totally clean now.
Good for you. God bless you.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get some shit done. I'm going to film my new hour special sometime this year. I'm trying to finish this book. I got a producer interested in this television show idea. I'm going to start pitching that in a couple
what
weeks.
The fuck? The worst thing I could tell you is no. You still got your stand up. Think about it. We always got to stand up.
No, I think I've never been better as a comedian.
You don't want to see me light my balls on fire on prime time on ABC. I still got my career doing stand up on the road. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I keep it fresh. I don't go out every fucking week. I'm 50 something. I got 8 hats. You got 8 hats.
I thought about you. You told me you always take the first flight out.
No terrorism.
I love that.
Sure. Early morning, 6 a.m. Bingo, bango. Everybody's home early before Disneyland. People
I've been doing that. It's a great,
a different experience.
It's great. Boom. You fly. You're landing back in LA at like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning.
When you were drinking, you thought that, oh my God, I'll take the 4 o'clock flight out because you're drinking.
That's what I thought.
Purposely. I did that for years also. I'm not going to lie to you. I took the latest flight out. Get a late checkout, sleep till 2, have somebody pick you up, take you to eat somewhere, talk some shit, smoke a joint, and then they drop you off at the airport. That's how it was in the old school. But things changed. You know what I'm saying? Things have fucking changed. It's flying has changed. It's a fucking nightmare. What we talking about?
Flying's great now for me because I just hit diamond level on Delta. So I get bumped up to first class all the time. And I can use the first class lounge. But it's funny, for years I would You know, you're boarding the plane and you're walking through first class, and I remember thinking to myself, who are these fucking rich cocksuckers, and why are they there?
And you realize you don't have to be rich.
No.
Stick with the same airline.
That's it.
Learn the flights that are empty like I do.
That's what I did.
And always get upgraded. I always get upgraded on America. Delta's not bad to me. They've taken care of me. Delta works with you on miles. You call them up and say, I'm a little light. They'll say, throw me the small 400 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll put you on that flight AM. They're cool, Delta.
Yeah, you can buy miles at the end of the year to reach your next level.
Yeah,
but also, the employees are usually in a good mood. A lot of these other airlines, years ago, I would just, get the cheapest flights, and some of these airlines, they treat you like an animal.
Delta's like the Atlanta Falcons. They fall apart from time to time. They fall apart. You get locked down for 2 fucking days because their computer system goes down.
Oh, I flew.
And you don't have a fucking backup system. So as a professional, I get to the airport, you have to have a backup system. So that shied me off of Delta for a few weeks, but they just got me here 35 minutes early.
I was flying that very day last year when their computer system went down.
You're done.
They gave me 50,000 miles as a gesture.
Yes, they do. They do take care of you.
To apologize for the inconvenience.
Yes, they do. That I will claim for Delta. If you don't have your luggage in 20 minutes, they give you 10,000 miles. If there's a problem with the flight, the next morning you wake up and there's a fucking email from Delta going, listen, thank you for accepting it and not pulling your hairs out of your head and telling my staff to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Look at your account. We threw 10,000 miles in it. That's a flight to fucking the neighborhood. That's the flight that they just fly you around the neighborhood and they just drop you off with no fucking parachute for 10,000 miles. But those things add up.
I got enough frequent flyer miles on Delta to have a helicopter on the roof within the hour.
You in town Sunday night?
I am, yeah.
Did you call in for spots at the store?
I actually, I'm going to go see Brian Regan on Sunday.
Damn, where is he?
Sherman Oaks. Damn. But I'm going to Friday and Saturday. I'll be at the Comedy Store. You going to be there Friday, Saturday?
I'm going to be there Sunday for my 20th anniversary.
Oh shit!
It's Washington's birthday Monday. Nobody got to work.
I'll come by afterwards.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, his show will be early. It'll be like 8:00. I'll come by afterwards.
He's going to give me a spot at 10:30 because we got a babysitter.
Oh, great! I'll probably be back by then.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And what? You're traveling a lot, man. And I say this shit constantly that. He's been doing stand-up for 33 years. This guy's made his living going around the world. There's a problem going on in America that if a comic doesn't have a podcast or isn't on Comedy Central constantly, people won't go and see him. Dave Attell. There's another gentleman that has this problem. This guy's a fucking animal. This guy taught half the comics that are out there. I still remember watching you on that fucking kamikaze shit on MTV with the long hair.
Yeah.
I still remember going to see you in Seattle with the chick from Boston. You did not the improv, but the other one when they made it big one night. On a Friday night, me and Josh Wolf went up there. This is 1995, cuz. You're not no fucking just Johnny come lately. You had a show on TV, so if he's in your area, go down there on a fucking Thursday night. Go hang out with Tom.
Come hang out with me. Can I plug some dates?
Yeah. What the fuck you think I bring you on here for?
I love you, man. February 23rd to the 25th, I'm going to be at Stand Up Live in Phoenix.
Nice club, very nice. 600 seats, good fucking food at the, what's the name of the bar next to it?
I don't know. It's my first time playing there.
Copper Kettle.
And it's a big
Copper fucking Kettle. I'm plugging you there.
Yeah, it's a big room. I've never played there before.
Great room. You had a good time?
March 23rd to 26th, I'm at Side Splitters in Tampa.
There we go. We're talking about Side Splitters.
Yeah,
I'm like a fucking psychic.
Great room. And April 6th through the 9th, I'm going to be at Laughing Skull in Atlanta.
Look at you.
Come on
in
out.
Atlanta. That's a nice room. You belong in there. It's a great room. Like I said, Sunday I'm at the store. Tomorrow night, the Valentine's Day is done. But next week I'm at the House of Comedy in Minneapolis. I'm very happy to be going up there in the winter. I don't give a fuck. People have been sending me evil fucking messages and tweets. You're an asshole. Going to Minneapolis in February. That's when the real pimps go up there.
That's right.
Any pussy could go to Minneapolis in August. Go sling dick up there in mid-February and let these motherfuckers know who's running things. That's...
Like Prince said, the bad weather keeps the mean people away.
It's fucking right. Syatt, what do you got going on, my little brother?
Oh, hey, and I could use a few extra Twitter followers if anyone's
whatever
feeling
you need,
generous.
bro. People, this is a friend of
Help a brother out.
This is a comic of 20 years that I learned a lot of. I opened for him in Houston, Texas. Great weekend. You learn from what you don't steal from comedy or comics, But you pick up a certain something from each comic you work with on the road. You go, wow, that's pretty neat that he pauses like that. Maybe I should try for my joke. You know, you see these guys that are still around, support them when they come to you. Who gives a fuck if they haven't been on America's Got Talent or they don't play the fucking harmonic on YouTube? This is real fucking comedy. This is real fucking comedy. It's one of these okey-doke motherfuckers that have been doing comedy for 4 years. He has a cute smile. You pay $48 and the guy makes you giggle 2 times. Then you take a picture of him. When he comes back, you're like, I'm not paying the 40. If you pay fucking $12, $15 for Tom Rhodes, you're robbing fucking comedy. You're robbing comedy. So check out Tom Rhodes. He's a dear friend. He's fucking family with the church. You know, he's trying to put fucking things together. He's still ticking.
I love you, man.
I wish I'm still doing comedy.
And I'll tweet you some of my knowledge nuggets, some of the best ones.
Oh, they can't wait. They're at home right now jumping up and down. Tom Rhodes is going to send us nuggets and shit. Because listen, man, Tom Rhodes is big over there on the fucking... and that's what you got to do. You got to go back over to Europe, make a big fucking splash, and come back here like the Stones after fucking...
being in France to make Exile on Main Street.
That's you. You go to France for a couple of years, hit it on stage, maybe a terrorist will shoot, you'll jump off the stage and get him in a headlock.
It's weird with Joey. Sometimes he gives you advice and it sounds like he's trying to get you to move out of the country or like move away.
Oh, he's an international star. Where the fuck have you been?
No, it's funny. Like,
where the fuck have you been? He's an international. He had a show and fuck.
We're talking about working on our books, you know, and I kept a diary when I lived in Amsterdam. And unlike Anne Frank's diary, there's a lot more drugs and dancing and shit going on.
He's like Matt Dillon in that movie from Seattle with the rock bands.
No, I know, but...
oh, my God. What was it called? Singles.
Singles. He used to always say, we're huge in Belgium. I'm huge in Belgium. Have you ever recorded in Belgium? Not you. I'm just teasing you, dog.
I played Antwerp a bunch of
What do you got this weekend, Lisa? Drop it on me. Break my heart. Where you taking mama?
No, I have my first Zeal massage, so we're going to do that.
All right. What else you got, Craig? I like
I love your eyes, man.
Look at them.
Look at that picture. Yeah, it's a perfect representation. And then I don't know yet. We're going to have to figure that out. We're going to do Valentine's Day on Saturday. Just because it's...
So what are you going to do tomorrow night? You going to give her a little kiss and maybe...
Yeah, I'm going to get flowers. I'm going to... Maybe we'll make dinner at home or something. But it's crazy going out tomorrow night.
No, you can't.
Also, you gotta get stuff for your moms. At least call your mom tomorrow.
Good. That's a really good reminder.
Look at Lisa. It's a big thing. Fucking dropping knowledge on the church.
That's a knowledge nugget, Lee.
Bad motherfucker. See, you didn't think of that one. How am I going to trust you if you didn't give him a little nugget for
Mine
Valentine's?
are about like Hitler and Shakespeare and all kinds of shit.
You can't tell these talks. You can't set up a revolution. Trump's already doing that shit.
Imagine the punk rock and the radical art that's going to be coming out in the next 4 years. I'm really excited about what's happening.
Me too.
It's a lot of pissed off people. It's got to turn into art and comedy, right?
It's got to turn into something. Something's going to go deep. But listen, while shit's going deep, you got fucking options. And your options are Seeso, okay? That's the beauty of it. Seeso has really changed my fucking life and made me look different at streaming and live comedy and whatnot and the TV shows. I mean, I love that they have my special on there, Laurie Kilmartin, Doug Stanhope. I mean, there's so many others. Janine Garofalo special on there. They're really going for the comedy angle of it. So stop setting for open mic comedy when the legends are all on your fingertips. Seeso puts you on the guest list for the exclusive comedy shows from legendary comics and today's top talent with new exclusive specials from Nick DiPaolo and myself, Doug Stanhope, and the new special from Nick DiPaolo, who was on Rogan yesterday. You don't have to stand in line and shell out $30 at your local comedy club to see these comics. Seeso has exclusive specials from them and many more you can enjoy from your couch on your favorite TV with nachos and basically a salad. So your New Year's resolution is basically kept. Attention, comedy nerds. Come to the magical place called Seeso, where new stand-up comedy specials debut every month. You like to laugh, you like to chuckle, chortle, cackle, guffle, snickle. Well, Seeso's countless hours of streaming stand-up television original content is sure to offer something for you. What are your favorite shows on there, Lee?
I like Bajillion Dollar Properties. That one's very good. I like watching SNL.
I turned you on to that one. I told you.
I watch Parks and Rec. So I like all those shows. Seeso's great.
Listen,
Did I see on the paper it said they show the late night shows the next day?
Yes.
Is that true?
The late night shows the next
All of
day.
them?
This is great. They're really
I'm
going
gonna get
for
that
it.
motherfucker.
I'm proud to be a part of them. So here it goes. Just go to Seeso.com right now and sign up for 1 month free with promo code Joey at checkout. Ready for this? Seeso's just $3.99 a month. No joke, $3.99 a month for all the comedy you want, anytime, anywhere, and it's gratis, free. But go to Seeso.com right now. Sign up for 1 free month with promo code Joey at checkout. This is the best offer Seeso has going on right now. 1 month for free of laughing your ass off comedy at Seeso just by using promo code Joey, Joey, for you motherfuckers that never got out of fucking kindergarten. That's Seeso.com, spelled SEESO.com. Bam! Promo code Joey, bitches. Hook 'em. Go to Seeso.com right now. Promo code Joey. No ads, no joke. Just straight up gangster comedy. And one of my fucking favorites. You know what? You made me very proud of you tonight because you actually used the service we fucking love. We love it. Lee loves it. I love it. I've been using them to the airport. But let me explain something to you. They picked me up in my house. They were very courteous. They didn't give me no drama. He charged me some. I didn't even look at what he charged me. I gave him a fucking 20 or 30 for taking out my luggage. He was a gentleman. And I had a great time about it. Lee always takes Lyft.
I take
Lee
Lyft
loves it.
everywhere. I'm
You
taking
take
it home
Lyft?
tonight. Can I say something great about Lyft in the
ahead.
middle of this Lyft
Go ahead,
commercial?
go ahead.
I take Lyft to the airport from where I live in LA. It averages about like $25. 10 years ago, I lived in Koreatown, and I used to have to take a taxi, and it would cost like $60 or $70. 10 years later, it's cheaper, and the people are courteous. They're nice people
The
to talk
cars
to.
are clean. They got
Cars are
magazines,
clean.
water. No.
Fucking Lyft is the greatest thing ever to happen to humanity.
Ever. So if you're in between jobs and looking to earn extra dough, if you're looking to put money in your kid's college fund, you're looking to go back to school and getting another degree or just your first one, whether you want to write your next great novel, whatever you want to do, finance your dream. Drive with Lyft. It's the riding share app that lets you be your own boss, pick your own hours, and earn up to $1,500 a week driving your own car. Who's better than you? There's other ride-sharing apps out there, but Lyft treats their drivers right. It's a flexible way to make easy money. Lyft drivers can make up to $35 an hour. Getting started is just a tap away. You can drive mornings, nights, weekends. Just flip into driver mode, ping, pang, boom, start making guitas. Plus, Lyft drivers can earn tips right through the app. Those tips, they add up fast. And you don't have to wait days to get paid and fill out. No, listen, you can cash out instantly once you made $50, thanks to Express Pay. All right? Driving with Lyft is super flexible, allows you to keep 100% of your tips, and is always there when you need some extra change. Let me do you a favor. Sign up today, right now, at Lyft.com. While you're sitting there broke, you got a new car, you need to make payments. Come on, go out there and justify your existence. Go today to Lyft.com/Joey, Joey. And right now, Lyft has a special offer for you beautiful people who are trying to put it together. You'll get a $500 new driver bonus after you complete 100 rides within 30 days. Go to Lyft.com/Joey today, and you can start making extra guitas and get your $500 new driver bonus, all right? Limited time only. Restrictions apply. Go to Lyft.com/Joey. I want to thank Lyft. I want to thank Seeso, and I want to thank my main man. Fucking always great to see you. You're one of the legends of comedy, and I wish you nothing but the best. Lee likes you. He even said I'm happy it's Tom Rhodes, so thank you very much.
I love you,
brother.
Joey. It's always great to talk to you,
What's up,
man.
Lee?
Thanks for the love, buddy.
Oh, I love you, Tom. I was just saying on it.
Oh, yeah. Never forget, my main motherfuckers, Shroom Tech Sport, you're a fat fuck. Like me, I use a cap, so I go to jiu-jitsu. Not like I'm killing motherfuckers, but I always last an extra minute every fucking time I go to jiu-jitsu. Go to Honor.com right now. I can't hook you up with the weights, but the supplements, I'll get you 10% off. Go to Honor.com and press in.
Church.
Boom! CHURCH. Get the 10% off delivered right to La Casa fucking Folly, all right? Anything else you want to add, my brother?
No, that's it, man.
And
I love you, my brother.
I love you too. Lee Syatt, stay black.
Long may
Have
you
a
run.
fucking great week. I'll be with you motherfuckers in a couple days. Love you. This is from my man Danny Brown and shit. Dropping some knowledge. Play that fucking goat, Lee.
track, what up?